Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
All right, what's up? Welcome to Golden Guys. We are missing our esteemed captain tonight, so we're just gonna do our own thing and try to make it work until if and when when JD shows up. So yeah, it's been a little while since we did a show. What's up, Lewis and Mike?
What's going on? Yeah, I guess we're a ship just, listless at sea, just drifting around without JD. Well, that rhymed. Totally rhymed. I'm going to claim that right there. But yeah, no, doing good.
What about you, Mike?
Doing good. Yeah, it's been forever. I'm super happy I felt like we had to do at least one show before the end of the year just because, I don't know. This year has been a doozy, but I had to just one more, Golden Age. There's still plenty to talk about. I put together some great kind of heritage. Like I went through like a bunch of their top stuff, Golden Age sales, so we can look at that. That's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Do we know how long until JD's coming back?
I don't know. He's in the chat right now, and he says you guys are the real show. It is already better. So we appreciate that, but that's definitely not true because I feel like I agree with Lewis. We are a listless ship at sea, but we'll make it work. We just usually wing it on here anyway, so I figure we can wing it no matter who's here.
Do it.
Yeah. So do you guys want to talk about pickups? We're at the end of the year, so is there any like end of the year pickups? I've got one. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to show off.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was curious about you guys. Like, did you have any like your top pickups of the year? As well as recent stuff that might be interesting.
Yeah, I'll go. I picked this. I don't think I showed this. I've had this for a couple weeks, but I don't think I showed it on the show. I'm not sure. So for this show, I think it might be new. And I think you guys have seen it before. PEP 34.
Oh yeah.
I don't have control over the screen, so I can't make it bigger. So this is what you're getting. But oh, who did that? Nice. I guess Chad's still here hanging out. Yeah. So PEP 34, pretty classic MLJ cover. Aside from like MLJ keys, is there a better MLJ cover? There's maybe a couple. This is definitely top 5 though, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was happy. It's a book that's been on my radar. I'm sure you guys it's on your radar too, and you just don't see it very often. And wanted one for a couple of years, so I sort of got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time when this became available, and I just didn't even hesitate. I just jumped on it. So yeah, happy to get that. Nice looking 3.0 actually. Yeah, pretty solid. And this is 2 streams of gas being shot out. I think a lot of people mistakenly call it a hypodermic needle cover, but it's actually streams of gas. But this is my favorite part here with the hand over the skulls.
Yeah. Who's the artist again?
I think it's Bob Fujitani. Yeah, Bob Fujitani.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, pretty good colors, pretty good looking for a 3.0. I mean, this is as good a copy as I would have ever have hoped to own. So yeah, super stoked to get that. And then as far as like pickups of the year, on my phone, you can make a 6-book collage. And that fits nicely on an Instagram post. So I did like my top 6 Golden Age pickups on my Instagram, and then I did my top 6 Silver Age pickups. I might do a top 6 Bronze Horror pickups and do that one next. But yeah, I would say probably my most prolific pickup of the year. It's a tie, and Sean's in the chat. I'm not going to show it, Sean, but that one is tied with my Flight 11 in a 6.5 white that I picked up, which I paid a pretty penny for, but I feel like it's worth it. I love that book, LD Cole Sci-Fi, and I'm not pulling that one out either. Yeah. But that and the Zip 22 are probably my Golden Age highlights of the year. I mean, they definitely are. Other books I picked up were cool, but those two take the cake.
Wait, which
They do on my Instagram if you want to see the Silver Age ones or the rest of the gold.
are you saying? You got a LB Cole sci-fi? I can't remember. You saying about that?
Yeah, I think I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen the images of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Blue
did you
Bolt?
not see it?
Blue Bolt?
No, Captain Flight 11. I'll pull it out.
Okay. Yeah, you must have shown it. Yeah.
See if I can find it here.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
Yeah,
I like it, but I like it better than the Contact. You know, I know the Contact one that people.
I'm not a fan of the Contact 12. I got like 5 Cole sci-fis ahead of it, but this is Flight 11 or Captain Flight 11, even though it's just called Flight.
Oh, that's great. Look at those blacks.
Yeah, I mean the colors on this are stunning, and it's a 6.5 white. It's not like I really am trying to get a high grade of some of this stuff, but if I have the budget and that's what shows up, then I may go after it. So this was the one that showed up. If it was like a 5.0 or a 4.0, I probably would have went after it too. But yeah, 6.5 white. Yeah, the Contact 12s, I'm not a huge fan. I like this and Blue Bolt 105 are my top 2, and then probably like Captain Arrow 26. I actually like Blue Bolt 108 better than Contact 12, and that's probably an unpopular opinion. I think there's one I'm missing, but whatever.
It's the subjectivity that makes it all great. But I tend to agree with you. I kind of like, I prefer the Flight, a little more detail, a little more things. That's just me. You're the PEP 34 is I don't know. It's definitely been a book that's just exploded in value recently. I was going to say I've seen a lot of people ask for the book. It seems to be a popular one right now. That's for sure. So congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks. Yeah, I know it's on your list too. We've probably talked about that book before, and it's not like an ultra rare book, but all this Golden Age stuff, especially when you get like a super classic cover, it doesn't take much demand to far outpace the supply. So when you look at the census, like for Golden Age collectors, would you guys agree? I feel like a book that's in the 40 to 50 on the census is, and I don't really consider it rare for a Golden Age book.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, it's perception. I mean, but yes, people within the Golden Age community, they're so used to all trying to fight over books that have, it seems like the average is often right around 15 to 20. It seems like it's the average.
What's up, Jeff?
What up, peeps?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, man.
Talking about our favorite pickups of the year. Pickups.
Okay.
And you're saying you're saying if a book is 40 copies on the census, it is rare or it's not rare?
Well, I think it's not. For me, I usually think if it's less than 20, I consider it rare. If it's like, starts to get up into the high 30s and then into 40s and beyond, I consider it, for like Golden Age cover art, I consider it not rare anymore, which would sound insane to anybody who's in Silver Age when they're like, Hulk 1 is super rare and there's like 800 and something copies on the census. But
I think it depends. Like, so for instance, if you have a book that's worth like, Marvel 1 or something like that, one of the like top 10 keys as far as like dollar amounts, then 40 could still be rare. Like, I feel like those top 10 books, people want to sell it because they know it's like huge amounts of money. So if the numbers are only 40, even at that point, I feel like that's an indication it's pretty damn rare.
Yes, I guess to me, if I was to apply my economics class, I guess the definitions of rare is if you see the book that's constantly for sale in one shape or form or another, then to me it's no longer rare, I guess, right? So basically somewhere they intersect with demand, and I would say that having 40 of anything probably never means it's plentiful. It's just all in the sake of the demand of the book, I think. But I think mentally I see some of these Silver Age books that have just thousands on the census. I joked I was at C2E2 earlier in December, and I bet in about a 3-minute span, I walked by more ASM 300s than probably a golden age book that exists in the world. There's probably more ASM 300s in a couple aisles than there was of a particular golden age book that I saw in the entire world. So I don't know, but whatever. It's just me.
I think anything. I mean, for me, just that's rare. If I can't find at least one or two examples of it to buy at any time, then it's rare.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If a book doesn't percolate to the surface sometimes because that it basically, if I don't see it floating out there for sale off and on, right, then I typically deem it to be rare. But I don't know. I mean, it's interesting stuff. I guess the whole key is, but I would still say that 40 of anything, it's perception of what's deemed to be rare or not. If that truly makes any sense.
Especially when there's a big sale of something, like if something like a book kind of came out of nowhere and like it was like, bam, oh yeah, we forgot about this book, and it was like, and look at that sale, and then you still see nothing for 6 months, then it's like, oof, that probably is pretty rare because it didn't even bring out.
People
had it and don't care about it, and
the woodwork effect. When I was looking for a Black Cat Mystery 50, like, I don't know, 4 years ago or something. That was like top of my list when I was all in on PCH. I couldn't find a copy of that anywhere. They just never came up. And there was a lot of them out there. It's a Harvey. It's not like there's not any out there. And I think the perceived market value was much lower than what the owners of these copies' personal value was to it. But then once the door got opened and you saw like a copy sell and it was surprisingly high, people were like, wow, okay, this book is selling strong. Then more owners start putting their copies out, and over the last few years it has shown its true colors, so to speak, as a Harvey book, and there's plenty available. Now it's still not like a Silver Age level. There's probably only 70 or 80 on the census, but for PCH that's a lot. What do you think, Jeff, about the rarity of these things?
So I came in a little late, so I'm not sure what you discussed, but I mean, rarity is interesting, right? I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with value. They shouldn't go hand in hand. It's just whether a book is out there or not and how many are out there. It's just interesting because the census can be off leading too, because just because someone doesn't grade, a Gene Autry book, who knows, maybe that's more rare than others, or something that just isn't often graded. And then you have the high value ones, where if you want to maximize your dollar amount and they're worth money, they get graded specifically. So it's like forcing the census to go up because they're being seen and put out there and graded so you can maximize your dollar. So it's a fuzzy line. I like you said, I don't think rarity has anything to do with value. The most expensive books we talk about are not the rarest of books, and we all know that already. 40, I don't know where you draw that line, right? Because then doesn't Overstreet have like scarce, rare, and is there another one after rare? Like
it's like uncommon. I think it's like the
very rare.
I think it's like uncommon. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm with you. I guess another thing too on the census, I never can remember, like. There's always got to be a few that they crack open the slabs, they do something and resubmit. So on the census, it's still probably, there's a few out there like that too, where something might say, hey, there's 30 and there's really might only be 25 or 20 because probably a few of them have been cracked and repressed or what have you.
I would say probably for that, it's like 10% is give or take. But I think on Golden Age, it's far less because there's not a lot of like high grade or grade chasing on some of the rare GA. First of all, it doesn't show up in high grade anyway. I mean, there's mile high copies and everything else. But, you're getting 2.0s and 3.0s and even 5.0s of some of this rare stuff. People don't really want to take a risk cracking that out to try to get a bump from like a 3.5 to 4 because it's not like there's a steady market where that's a definable improvement in value and people aren't getting rid of them. So, like, I don't think there's a lot of CPRs for Golden Age books, but like for bronze, like Hulk 181, I'll bet you it's way over 10%, honestly. And ASM 300s is way over 10%. And then Silver Age, it's probably around 10%. And then I'd say like the Golden Age stuff we're into, it's probably under 10% CPR. So out of 30 copies, you can maybe expect maybe a couple were resubbed, maybe. I don't think it's that many.
You got to think that number is going to be dropping at some point. Can't be consistent, right? You know, 10 out of 100, maybe at some point that was the case, you know, because you had those old labels that everyone just assumed could be upgraded, but those have to be diminishing. And I don't know how much of that percentage. I mean, that's the number we're throwing out there. It could be 10%, could be less, but you know that number is going to be dropping, right? Like
over time, yeah.
But you said, Jeff, you said that you don't think it has anything to do with value, but for me, I've always had this feeling like if a book is like, could be like, you know, 500K, like let's take Marvel 1, for instance. I feel that because of its high dollar amount, and like you said, people are going to want to grade that, like you want to grade that before you sell that thing to get maximized profit. Then I believe the numbers on the census are more accurate than, you know, other books that aren't as sought after or high press. So when, like, you know, there's only 31 Marvel ones, blue label. I mean, then I feel like that is truly rare. Like, because, you know, anyone who sells that would want to get a grade.
Yeah, there's something else to consider, especially if you're investing for value or you're keen on the value of your books based on how many are out there. You need to consider the raw population, which is a total unknown, but you can get some clues about the raw population of a book. Like, for instance, 5 or 6 years ago, I feel like there was a massive raw population for PCH books. But once that category gets really hot, that raw population diminished quickly. And those don't strike me as the type of books that most collectors really value keeping them raw. You know what I mean? As opposed to timelies. I feel like there's probably more raw Marvel 1s than we might think, or than the average person in comics might think. Some of those will never get slabbed because I think like a lot of collectors of that type of stuff value keeping them raw. There's like a more of a cool effect to having a raw early timely than there is to a PCH. Like, nobody wants raw PCH. Nobody collects raw PCH. I mean, you find PCH, you send it in, you get it graded, and then you can sell it or not. But there's not like raw collectors out there collecting PCH. But timelies, I feel like there are, or like early actions or something, or text. I feel like a lot of people just want raws, and there's high grade raws out there that are never going to get slabbed. I don't know.
I feel like these books in like Heritage, for instance, I mean, are they even doing that much raw stuff anymore? Like, as far as like something that's, you know, could be like 10K.
Probably on their weekly, and if it's
are they
amount,
like 10K books?
Less than that.
I feel like they will just send it in themselves, even if they get it raw to the office.
Right.
Yep, I'm probably one of the few people. I've got like a cabinet full of raw books. I've just never really submitted anything hardly ever. So I still, but yeah, no, I do think most of everything on the auctions are 95+% are graded. And I suppose by putting that grading on it, it just made it an homogeneous type of, like, you know, a known quantity versus the raw, right? So, but yeah, anyway, so if I flip it on its head a little bit, so you talk about like the rarity. So what about like the demand of it? And so here I will mention again, since I was at the C2E2 earlier this month, one thing I noticed just kind of walking around, and I'll have to buy my note aside, I know these lesser crowds because of COVID are certainly probably bad for the promoters and the dealers. Great for people shopping. It was nicer to get around and everything. But I'll say this. I did notice that there was a lot more younger folks looking at Golden Age than I would have expected. When I was walking around from booth to booth, I just noticed that there was a lot more of the younger generation that were certainly interested in some of the Golden Age books, which I think was good and is healthy it's healthy, you know. But I didn't know what everyone else was seeing, what everyone else's thoughts. I know Jeff, you certainly are in the, you know, in that business, maybe what you see out there, because ultimately these books could be as rare as a possibility, but at some point down the road, there's only 10 people in the world that want them. It's not really going to do much for the, you know, for the value at least.
Oh man, I definitely got some strong opinions on all that on what I'm seeing for me, and just watching the older collectors who are just don't want to deal with a con environment.
Mhm.
So you're seeing, seasoned collectors have been doing it for a very long time and whoever, probably in their 60s plus,
Mhm.
who just don't want to battle the crowds anymore. They've already collected for a long time and have a lot of what they already like, and either they're complacent with what they got or they're just going to shop with online with people they know,
Yeah.
or wait for those connections they have with other dealers to contact them. Then you have the intermediate ones who are still coming to cons, but I feel like they're almost extra picky. And they're like, I could buy it at a con and get it here. And they'll haggle with you on the price more because they've been around the block and they know you'll maybe take offers or not.
Mhm.
But they'll also know that they have other options like the huge auction sites.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
got the young guys who have no freaking clue what the hell they're doing. I'll be honest with you, just getting into Golden Age and think they know it all because they're on whatever platform they're on. God bless them. I love them. But I feel like they're really just jumping all in, which I love. And that's the best way to learn Golden Age, is to just jump on in, because you got to experience it. You got to see it. They're excited about it. So I love that. But they're also the ones who drive markets because they don't truly know what is scarce or rare. Like horror. Oh, all horror. That's it. It's got to blow up. All romance. That's it. It's got no. You guys, you don't really know until you know. And that takes experience and time. And I think that inflates certain things at certain time periods. But you're seeing them at Conforce because it's a social environment. They love it. They love it because of the social media aspects of it. They love it because they get out. They're not that afraid of any type of viruses as much as some of the older crowds are. They don't really care. They just want to get out there. They want to have fun. They want to pick up some cool books. They want to post them. And it's just interesting to watch the dynamics. And it's great because this collectible can be for everybody and anything. But when I'm at a con, that's kind of what I'm noticing trend-wise. And so it's fun to watch because I like seeing the juxtaposition of everybody. And everyone feels like the way they're doing it is correct. And but it also works for them. So what works for them is making them enjoy it. And it's a sad that certain people can't get to the cons or want to deal with it.
Right.
I don't like seeing the older crowds because I think they bring a lot. They bring a lot of knowledge. They bring a lot of experience. It'd be nice to see them come to cons because they'll probably also bring books to trade with. We'll see other books come around the con floor. So I don't know. Take that what you will. There's a lot there, but that's kind of what I'm seeing on multiple levels for collectors and con environment.
Yeah, I mean, certainly what I saw was a lot of dealers certainly, if you had Golden Age to trade, they're certainly interested. I mean, you could tell like they certainly view. I mean, in my opinion, it was certainly viewed as a hotter commodity that they would like to be able to get and sell versus a significant amount of all the Silver Age. Not that they certainly weren't moving all of that as well, but sometimes when I walk around, I just sort of like the nerd in me sort of likes to look at the books, but I also try to look to see what's buying, what's selling, what are people asking for. I just kind of people watch as to, what's sort of what are people after and so forth. And I had several tell me that, a lot of it was, the Golden Age stuff certainly was there.
I feel like I've seen more young people lately. I've heard them say like, yeah, I'm thinking of moving some of this modern money into Golden Age, like as far as for longer term investments for their personal stuff. I feel like that's been a little more common this year. I feel like I've heard that more.
Yeah, no, it's good.
You seen that, Jeff?
Yeah.
At the buying front?
But maybe. I mean, look, people are always trying to upgrade their books, something else. So I'm cool with you putting money in Silver Age. I'm cool with you putting money in Golden Age.
They haven't been dumping. I mean, I know I certainly did that. I first got rid of it, went like by the years, I got rid of the newest stuff first. And then,
yeah, I think there's a lot of, I notice a lot of younger collectors or newer people to the hobby are jumping right into Golden Age. I like to see it. It's inevitable that those collectors could get discouraged very easily though, because I didn't get discouraged, but I remember being frustrated, and it's not, it's not even so much learning the prices or learning what's rarer than what. It's developing an eye for stuff, especially if you plan to resell or upgrade or move around with books because they're pricey and you sometimes just can't hold everything. But it's more developing an eye for it because I remember when I first got into Golden Age, picking up stuff and jumping on it quick and paying whatever and thinking, oh, this is super awesome. And then after I get it, and maybe I just like, it's not as good as I thought. Try to sell it, nobody wants it, and I'm like, man, this is freaking crap. Why did I even buy this? Like, this is not that good. But over time, you develop an eye for what is really good, and you have to use your gut a lot in Golden Age. You can't just rely on data or auction results or whatever or census. You have to really use your gut, and you sort of get a feel for in a particular category what's really a badass book. And it doesn't really matter what the previous sales are. If it's badass, it's badass, and it will eventually you'll find other people who think it's badass. Maybe it just hasn't caught on. Maybe not enough of them have shown up to move the needle on it. But to develop that sense of knowing what's really badass takes time, and the only way to do that is trial and error and just experience. And I started small and got bigger over time. And yeah, so I would recommend anybody getting into it, just start small, but jump in and just dive in and just experience as much GA as you can, but just don't put a ton of money on the line out the gates. That's what I would say.
I remember being frustrated in other ways too. Like sometimes I wasn't used to, like, there were books that I was like, holy crap, finally I found one and I bought it. But then like when I'd go to sell that book, it could take there clearly weren't enough of me's out there who were thinking the same thing. You'll eventually, I think, you'll get close to the money you put in on most big, good books, but it definitely required more patience, than I thought. And I got frustrated with like waiting around for a book to appear sometimes, or like sometimes people don't seem to even talk about Golden Age as much, as it's not as like in the spotlight as much as some of the other books. That's different now, I think, but it's getting more popular. But yeah,
I mean, what do people really talk about for Golden Age when you have your chats outside of the huge key books? Like, unless you're really talking to somebody who's done it a long time, you can't really have a conversation about Golden Age unless it's somebody who knows Golden Age. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't know Golden Age, if you don't know Silver Age, you can still talk about Spider-Man and Hulk and Avengers and all this gear. You talk about Golden Age after Batman and Superman and maybe a few other of the characters, you start getting to like, hey, what'd you think of that Bullet Man series? Or what do you think of Cannonball comics? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, even
comics,
on YouTube, back not even that long ago, I'd be like, yes, I freaking got this, timely that I've been searching for forever, and I'm just like, wow, really? No one other than like a thread on the CGC forums, like no one gives a shit. It's like, so I just started making my channel, and I eventually met people like you guys, but like that can be discouraging sometimes.
Yeah, I was at a shop out of town. Speaking of, if you don't know Golden Age, you don't know any of it. You either know it or you don't know any. I was at a shop, and it was a legit shop. They had a lot of stuff, and they had keys on the wall, and I mean, it wasn't some dinky shop. And I was looking through some of their older. I asked every time you go in the shop, you're like, do you have any Golden Age? And they're like, oh, I think there's some in this box over here. And I'm looking through, and it's the typical stuff that this shop might have leftover Golden Age stuff. But there was like, it wasn't a big, it was like Indian Warrior or something, LD Cole book. Nothing crazy. And I was the only one in the shop. It was like afternoon, middle of the week or something. And I was like, oh, you got an LD Cole in here? That's cool. And they're like, who's that? Is that somebody? Is that a good character? And I was like, oh, it's just a fairly well-known Golden Age artist. And they're like, oh, is that worth a lot of money? Like, they didn't even know who LB Cole was.
Right.
And it's not like, what a stupid shop. Like, how would they know if they're, it's a shop and they're getting Silver Age and Moderns and Bronze books and like ASM 300s? I mean, there's no way they would. But it's just, it's so weird when you just step out of our community and you say L.B. Cole and they have no clue who that is.
Mhm.
It's almost scary. Like my spending all this money on stuff that nobody even knows what the hell it is. And then I rush back to this community and then people know, and I'm like, oh, thank God there are still people that know what this is. So I don't know. That's exactly right what Jeff's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always when I
Yeah.
like leave a con and you step out onto the street, the like busy city street where like it's real life, and like you go from like I'm the man, I just got this thing, and then it's like no one could give a fuck, like
I can't
Yeah,
tell
I feel
you.
like if I got like mugged outside of a con after the day was done, I wouldn't even be worried they would take they would look at the comics I bought and be like, we don't want that crap. Give me that watch. And they wouldn't, you know what I mean? The comics would be obviously worthless. There's no Superman or Spider-Man on it. We don't want that crap. But we'll take your watch. That's how I feel it would be.
I can't tell you how many Ubers I've been in on the way to conventions. Like, hey, I'm going to this con. Oh, what's it for? Oh, comics. Oh, people like comics? Like people buy comics? It's like it's so different once you get out of your environment.
And then you get closer and they're like, oh yeah, the silly people in the costumes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the cosplay convention.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I'd also say is like what I noticed. See, to me, one of the biggest differences in the Golden Age collecting of it, anyways. So Bronze Age, Silver Age, Modern, all that. To me, that's simply just a game of money. And what I mean by that is that's just, hey, do you want to spend the money? Then you can go pick whatever you want to buy whenever you want to buy it. So I think for the people that are so accustomed to like, hey, I want to collect this, I want to grab this, I want to grab this, I want to put my run together, I want to buy it. Then they get into Golden Age. And then they're going to have to you're going to have to embrace the disappointment, embrace because yes, money becomes a big part of it if you find books, but a lot of it is hunting, seeking, searching, turning over, talking to people. And then I think in this particular niche of the world, I honestly think having good relationships, it's a relationship too. Because I mean, at all times you might not ever hear or see of a book that ever came for sale, but because you have relationships, you talk to people in the community that they work. If you're new to that, you might not ever know that happens. And the Silver Age and everything else, I mean, not knocking it, I'm just saying it's a different deal. Like if I went online today and said, hey, I want an amazing fantasy 15 and I have the cash, I can get 20, 30 people, trying to sell it to me. A lot of the Golden Age books, that's just flat not going to happen. And I think in the Golden Age community, I know you have the auctions or whatever. I think there's some people that just like, also, I don't want to say they won't sell to you if you have enough money, but I think there's definitely kind of a
I remember venting to Jeff when I first got on Instagram. I don't know if you remember this, but I was venting to him. I had just got on Instagram. I didn't really know anybody, but I had some money and there were certain books I wanted, and I would just see stuff is sold, and I would hit people up that have books and offer to buy it, and they would just blow me off. And then I would see like 2 days later they sold to somebody else, and it was so annoying. Like I wanted to buy that 2 days ago. Why didn't you? And there were other things going on. It was just frustrating. But I remember venting to Jeff about it. Like, this is fucking bullshit. Like I told him I would have bought this book. This other guy has this book, won't sell it to me. He just sold it to somebody else. And Jeff's like, just relax. That's Golden Age. It's just people know each other, and they have agreements that go back years on some books to get it at a certain point or whatever. And it really is how it is. And there's so many private sales that change hands.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be able to just get what you want. But that's why I love Golden Age. You can get, and this is perfect time to show this by request for Sean. I know he loves when I show this book off.
Yeah.
I love Golden Age because you can put together a unique collection, and it's just not necessarily just based on how much money you have, because you can have $1 million, and if you want to go buy this right now, you can't find it. So this is the type of book you can get in the Golden Age collection that's unique to you, as opposed to like ASM runs where, there's people that have completed ASM runs. And if you want to complete it, you can just go and spend the money and complete it. It's still an accomplishment, and there's still cool books and everything. But sometimes a Golden Age, even if you have the money, you can't find the books for years or ever sometimes.
Yeah. And then, I would say recently I guess not to kind of jump topics or what have you. I have picked up a few books here and there. I've got some that I've picked up off auction, but I did find one. I think I might have sent some people here. I'll show one that talking about like, hey, it's just really tough to find. I'll show it. I'll reach back. Hold on 1 second. I'll share a book.
You know, what you're talking about is the same for these like Japanese things I've been after. I can go for, you know, I'd be like, God damn, like I'll pay, but it's like I just have to wait for months and months and months, and they're not even that expensive. It's not like a massive, you know, $10,000 Golden Age book or anything.
Mhm.
But it's like, where the hell is this crap?
Exactly. It makes
It's kind of fun though.
Yeah, to me, like the thing with Golden Age, I don't think you can replicate in others. I think, I don't know, maybe you can, but there is sort of the satisfaction and like when you do finally get a book that you've been searching for and you do finally bring it home, you bring it into the warm embrace of your, you know, then there's sort of a, like, I don't know, kind of a feeling that you can't get if I just, I don't know, want to just go buy one.
Yeah,
of the
and people can get really annoyed with that. I've noticed, definitely. You know, especially today when everyone's used to getting, you know, I want to watch that movie. I can get it in 2 seconds or whatever. You know, you can get almost anything on eBay at any time. Amazon, 24-hour whatever delivery.
Instant gratification. But so anyway, I'll share a book. You know, you don't forget to show it. Like I said, it's a little bit of a different book. I wouldn't. It's a later Golden Age book, but it's
Beautiful.
Nice.
I know I got a lot of glare going in my office, but it's like the Haunted magazine's
Haunted
3.
That's tough.
So it's actually in really, really good shape. But like I said, it has a little bit of a portion of the spine that's split. And what's interesting about this book, if anyone's ever, I always find it interesting, is that the reason that the book is so, I don't know, scarce, rare, it's what I learned on it is that I think when the book was actually originally printed, that the paper quality of the book was as a whole was so poor that it was almost falling apart when it was delivered to retailers. So a lot of the books were sent back and destroyed because there's really no reason for that one particular book to be so rare compared to the other group. And that was really the reason behind it. So just about all of that particular book that you'll find normally is completely split or in pretty bad shape. As chance would have it, there is actually one that has just come up for sale, I think, at Heritage. So I'll have to kind of watch that. But anyhow, I was super, super pumped to find it. I was walking by and somebody kind of had it behind something, and I looked at it and I'm like, ooh. You know?
Yeah, that's like the rarest PCH book there is. And yeah, like you're saying, that title, I mean, I've owned several from that title before, and the rest of that title's not really that hard to find. Yeah, I don't know why that one is so tough, but I this one coming up is the only one I can remember seeing at auction at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I know there's a restored copy bouncing around for a while, but and it's a really cool cover too. I mean, it's not just that it's rare; it's a dope cover too with the purple on it and the it's cool.
It's very unassuming though if you don't really know. You're just looking. When you look at it, you're like, okay, Bat Coffin, all right, horror book. I mean, there isn't much to it. Where like Crime Suspense 22, you look at that, you're like, dang, it's a messed up cover. You know, it's just I don't know. It's just interesting that could literally slip by somebody on who doesn't know anything about comics or just doesn't know that time frame.
Yeah, and there's just as an interesting aside about that book, the highest graded copy of that book is a 9.4, and it also just happens to be a double cover.
Oh wow!
I don't know if you'll ever see it for sale, but there was a collector on Instagram that posted it at one point, and 9.4 double cover. That's like that book to own it all, and then in that grade, and then it just coincidentally happens to be a double cover. I mean, what a rarity to own that, man. That's an awesome book.
Yeah, this one was rare for me to find. I did see. I just checked eBay, and there's a 2.5 for sale. But for the longest time, I couldn't find any. And this is a 3.5, but it was really tough to get.
A great book.
Yeah, the Baker stuff.
I think I only got 2 Golden Age books this year. That one and this one.
Oh yeah, I got one of those too.
Yes.
Yeah, so I bought this. I'm not going to buy off this dealer anymore. I'm not going to name who it is. But I bought this.
Come on, Jeff.
I bought
No,
this.
we did this
as,
already.
I bought this
Left
as a
out.
VG.
I love it when we can do 4.
It's like a 2 of them.
Oh God.
Only silver. We have to do silver to do that, I think.
Yeah, right. I'm sure there's one Golden Age book we all have.
Yeah, this is the best cover in the Atlas Submariner run, right? You agree, Mike?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think most people probably agree. These books, these Atom Age Torches and Submariners, I feel like are getting more popular as more books are coming around because the market overall is hot. I'm seeing prices on these are pretty strong, especially the better covers like this one. It was probably an afterthought a couple of years ago, and it would just be sold for $100 or $50. But I saw Mike. We saw that one come up on auction. What was it, like a 6.0 or something? And it went for like $5 or $6 grand or something. Man, that was.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's worth it, but way more than I would have thought that book was selling.
Yeah.
We also have a few Namor appearances in that run too coming up, and I'm sure that's helping with some sales.
There's none of that book on eBay right now. Where's
You get home.
JD? I got all these cool top 10 lists of 2021, but I thought he was going to be here. Is there any?
Well, we had a
update?
couple other topics we were going to talk about. What makes a collectible overall a good investment? What makes a particular genre of a collectible?
One last thing before we switch gears. I was just curious, not just here, like, I do hear the people saying, like, yeah, maybe I'm thinking of putting the modern or silver or bronze and modern money into a more stable golden age. And, in the past couple months, I don't really know what's going on, but I've heard people saying about some prices dropping, some books coming more down to earth a little bit. Do you think that golden age is a little bit less volatile than?
Oh, I think it's absolutely less volatile, but it's also less likely for a huge spike, unless it's just something you don't see for years, and all of a sudden hits the market and people won't have that demand. But we do see Silver Age spike very aggressively across many titles and issues, far more than you seem to see it with Golden Age. But Golden Age, like I said, it is a little more consistent. But with that said, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. That's part of it. That's okay. But long term, it just seems to eventually just go up again. And instead of complaining when it does go down for everybody, how about when you complain that it's too expensive and you can't buy in, and then it goes down, you jump in instead of complaining about it again in 6 months. You're like, oh, I missed it. That's kind of the way I look at it.
It's this whole new crowd with like NFTs and crypto. Like, people don't have the wherewithal or the patience or the initiative or something to get on something until it's really hauling ass up. People love jumping these days. People love jumping on stuff after the train is already way up the tracks at full speed, and then they jump in. Nobody wants to jump in when stuff's down, and that's like the opposite of what you should be doing if you're investing. Like, you buy the dip. People say buy the dip. I don't see anybody buying the dip anymore. Like, Bitcoin goes to 50 grand and people load up on it. Like, that's not the time to load up on it. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it is. There's people that are going to tell me about Bitcoin.
I do think some late train
I love
jumpers.
Bitcoin. I think it's a bubble, whatever.
I do think some late train jumpers are just, are doing the right thing, though, because, like, even me coming into collecting timelies around like 2010 or 11 or something like that, I was bidding some stuff up pretty high, and I remember some people saying, like, oh God, like, why would you just wait? But, like, those prices are ridiculously low now. So like, I think any new blood might, you have GPA that definitely will help you steer clear of any disasters, but like on Golden Age, you can't really use that too much. But I do think sometimes you do, if your gut makes you feel like you need to jump on it. Maybe if there's not too many people talking about it, that might be safer. I don't know. Yeah,
regret's one thing. Like, there's always the fact that you're gonna have to deal with yourself when you didn't buy it. right? So like when you go home, you're not going home away from yourself. You're still stuck with self. So can you live with passing on the book? Can you live not paying 10% more to get it out and check it off your list? If you can, great. If that works for you, amazing. If you feel that you can wait and maybe you made the right call and another one comes along, or maybe the price dropped, all right, good for you. But you gotta kind of make that choice as an adult. And sometimes we've all grabbed books just to get the books because we know we had to pay up to get it.
Yeah.
And whether we have to be the one to set the benchmark now, then so be it. But we do feel generally satisfied when we get that book in the collection still.
Yeah, I try to be pretty cheap, and the way I do it, I stopped doing want lists, because when I was doing want lists before, like, here's what the books I want for this upcoming year, you get like blinders on and you pick up stuff maybe at prices you shouldn't or conditions you shouldn't, just because you want to check that box off your list. I stopped doing that, and now I've sort of visualized, like, I already know what my next book is. Okay, it's cool book X, and I have a spot in the box ready for it. So I don't know what book it's going to be, but it's going to be a cool book. And then I'll just keep an eye out. And if I'm not sure about a price or a particular copy or a book, then that's not the cool book I'm getting. And then after a while, you get a feel like, yes, this is the right book and this price was good. Like my Blue Bolt 105, and that came up for auction at Connect. That's a book I've always wanted, but I'm not pigeonholing myself to get the next copy that comes up. But I thought that was worth a certain amount, and so I bid on it, and I got it way under what I thought it was worth. And so that became the next cool book I picked up. As opposed, if you do a want list or you like pigeonhole yourself, you're forcing yourself to make decisions that are not necessarily the best decisions sometimes. It's tough to do, though, because all these books are freaking cool, and sometimes you just make impulses, or you get caught up in an auction, or you just it's a book you've always wanted, and it's tough to do. But I lose probably, I don't know, 25 out of every 26 auction items I bid on. So I'm losing almost all the time. But that one I get makes it worth it, because I'm very comfortable with the price, and I don't really care what I get. Yes, there are books I like, but I don't care what's the next one I get. And then when it comes around, that's the right book. So it's just, I don't know, it's different how I do it.
I do think one thing, I was thinking about how we were saying about the hunt and how rare some of these things are. I do think another difference between that, collecting stuff like that, versus the more readily available stuff, is it can feel a little lonely sometimes. Like, because like really, if you're after something that is taking you years to even have the opportunity to purchase, like, you're excited about this, you're like hoping you can get it, but like you can't talk about that. Like you have to not. Like, if you really want a chance, you have to, like, hope no one else sees that book. You don't want anyone to mention that auction coming up. It's really, I guess, competitive in a way that, after, and sometimes even after you buy the stuff, if there's still more from that series or whatever and it's not hot, you don't even want to say anything. Because, like, but then you're like, I like sharing and talking about this with other people, but yeah. So, and that requires patience. Again, I guess it's just more patience. Like you wait till you collect all you need, all you wanted, and then you can talk about it. Because
I never ever talk about what books I'm going after ever.
Yeah.
I just go after what I go after, because what happens is you say you're going after a book, and then other people feel like maybe they should get out of the way, but if they wanted it, then they're a jerk if they try to get it above you. Or I go after the books I'm going to go after, and if I know other people are going after and it's not super important to me, I'll just pass on it. But otherwise, I don't talk about what I'm going after. I just go after what I want. And you just got to get what you want to get and just keep it to yourself, because in the Golden Age community, if there's a cool book comes up, there's going to be numerous people going after it. So just go after what you go after, and you'll get some of them.
So
you
don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah,
that's the first rule, right?
What's weird is these Japanese, the like super rare stuff I've been getting into in the past couple years. These like groups and forums and stuff, like you're forbidden to even post an upcoming auction.
Oh, really?
Like no one, like if you do that, you're a real ass. because I don't know, it's just like frowned upon. Like people want to not, and it is hard to even find some auctions, you know,
Right.
just because of the language barrier and whatnot. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just a real weird.
You know, I was just mentioning to somebody earlier today, and not to get kind of silly or corny with it, but you know, I tend to try to look at all books. You know, bear with me for a second. Picture in your mind, like in my head, all books are like $1. I take the value out of them, and I really just try to like go after books that I like, and then that's how I start. And I think there's plenty of people that I guess think of all the books that they buy as a constant investment, and I'm going to buy it for this amount and it's going to make this amount of money, and that's in their head, and that's fine. But I do think like if the hobby remains healthy, it can't always be about an investment. It has to be, people have to like the art, they have to appreciate like what they're seeing and buying and so forth, because without that I don't think it's
intrinsic value.
Yeah. I think if there's not a love and an appreciation, if you take that away, then the value will tank. And so I guess how I've always looked at things, because you know, like sometimes people will chase a book because they're like, holy buckets, I should go after that book because it's X amount of dollars, and that's why I want the book. Well, why do you want it? Well, it's going up in value and it's worth X, and that's fine. That's just not necessarily always been my approach. Like I'll go buy a book that's $42 because I dig it as much as maybe a book that's thousands. Now, sometimes obviously a lot of our taste will collide with the stuff that's super expensive and popular. But I guess all I'm getting at is I just think in the end, if things sustainable and they continue to go up without that appreciation, it's kind of like classic cars, right? If people don't appreciate the beauty of the old classic cars and the lines and the style and everything, and they don't truly value and appreciate it, then there's no crux, there's nothing solid behind any value to it.
Well, and that sort of dovetails into what I wanted to talk about. Like, why would we think, if we do, that this golden age cover-oriented books are going to stay popular and rise in value over time? Because clearly nobody cares about the interiors or the characters in this, it's talking like the cover art stuff.
Right.
So it's like classic cars. As long as people are driving cars and appreciate what the car is, they will look to find cool vintage examples of that. And I feel like this is art, and I don't think like visual art doesn't ever go out of style. Anything like that's two-dimensional with awesome art on it, I feel like is always going to be popular. And really with some of this golden age stuff, it's a really unique form of art. You don't see anywhere else in any other medium that has this type of art, these type of scenes, these type of drawings. It's like a cartoon on a bad acid trip. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing else like it really. And so I think from that aspect, they will maintain popularity for years to come. It doesn't have anything to do with movies or what's the kid's favorite Halloween costume on a particular year or any of that. It's just super cool, awesome art. And I think that's got staying power. That's what I think about it.
I think it's cyclical, in the sense that like, even if maybe, people get sick of horror for a bit, but then 10 years from now, it'll be super big again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I throughout economic history, I don't necessarily know that there's been any economy, any product, any service, or something that has never been subject to cyclical demands and changes and things. So I think to expect that comic books out of everything would be, how do I put it, like outside that rule would be silly. But I do think if you looked at it over time, I do think they'll continue to go. It'll be interesting to note is, here's an interesting thought too, right? Like it, love it, hate it, whatever your feelings are, I think the print industry for comics is certainly going to slow up tremendously. And I can even see the unfortunate day where so many of these are digital, right? So it would be interesting to see how that also continues to push the value of these old paper for the paper with pictures on them. Because
Yeah.
think about this, when we're long and I think when we're long and dead, I think that I fear that there won't be that many printed books or printed comics anymore. I really don't. I mean,
Well, cyclical doesn't. Pluto takes 248 years to go around the sun, so that might be the Western planet. The Western Golden Age comics. Till it's hot again.
So I guess sometimes you get kind of so wrapped into it, and I think people like, man, I kind of, people like the last few years, they just almost had this expectation is like, well, it's a sure thing. I'm going to buy this book, and then in 3 months, it's going to be worth X dollars. And, I don't know if that's sustainable, like at a constant clip, like it'll, go up over time. But
the some of these things, like this or the PEP 34 or something, they're not even really comics. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about the cover and the artist. It's the exact same thing as fine art. Like, there's an artist and a work, and that's it. And it's sort of like, I liken this a lot to Albert Durr or other artists of various times, where they would do a carving on wood and then use that to make impressions. And it's like a limited print run. And each one, none of them are original sort of works of art, but they are a limited print run. Like the first series of impressions from that wooden plate before it starts to degrade are of the highest quality and are the highest sought after. Never going to be as valuable as the original work, but they have value because that's what form that art took, was a limited run. And these are like the exact same things. I don't even see these things as comic books. Like, there's nothing about it that has anything to do with comics or characters or stories. It's just a work of art by an artist. And if you can get a complete, unrestored, presentable copy, it's like one of those early editions of one of these impressions by like an Albert Durr or something. And honestly, these outsell the Albert Durr impressions. Most of them. It should be like Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse by him or something. In a really
without a doubt. I just there's a part of me, I'll have to admit, that thinks sometimes a little slowdown or a reduction in prices, at least as a blip, would probably sometimes be good for the whole, versus the constant, how quick the prices have escalated on some things. That's all I'm saying. If that makes any sense. I think it's, I just think it's a bit healthy at times for things to take a bit of a breather and so forth. But hey, if the market keeps on moving, it keeps on moving. So
we're seeing books take breathers.
Yeah,
we do see it. It does happen. It's just, what is this? What is a length of time you want to see a lull? What is a healthy length of time? I mean, I don't know. It's just, yes, seeing a slowdown, maybe it's good. Who's it good for? What's it good for? Is it good for the greater collectible? Possibly. Is it good just for the ones in it who want to get things? Probably. But what's better for the whole collectible? That's kind of an interesting debate for me. I just don't know if a slowdown overall across the board for all comics is necessarily a good thing for the hobby long term. Maybe it brings more people in, right? Slows down, brings more people in a gap of time, and then can go back up again, and then you've captured a whole nother group of people.
I like a steady increase is the best, because it's like, people who think, oh, it should double in a year. You can't do that. But like, come back in 3 months. Yeah, probably, maybe I can give you that price for that book, if you're trying to trade it in or something. That'd be a cool thing. Like back in the day when we were collecting, I remember buying stuff back in the 80s, 90s, and you'd wait a little while and then it would be like $5-10. And you didn't have to wait that long, but it wasn't like years, and sometimes it didn't go that high, but
well, some of what's driving the prices of the comic books is not just the comic community just putting out more and more money and rushing to get these. There are other areas of collectibles that have people who cross over to comics And some of those areas are having massive problems, like video games with the double shot from Carl Jobst on YouTube with that potential scandal stuff, and just the exponential explosive gains video games have made. It's just undermined a lot of the confidence in that market. And then cards, like sports cards, is a freaking disaster right now with the fakes and the grading companies missing things. And it's, I don't know, they have these box breaks where it doesn't really seem like the cards that you're chasing hold value. It's the box break itself. It's like becoming more and more of a mystery box sort of market on some of the newer stuff. And with the fakes, I don't know if you guys are following. There's so much fake autographs and fake cards and trimmed, and it's a disaster out there. The grading companies can't even catch it. And so a lot of these guys are investing in collectibles. They're collectibles investors, and they're moving over to comics. Comics is viewed as a much more stable, reliable market of collectibles, and it has a pretty solid history. And I feel like it's relative to those other markets is really seen as a much safer place. And so a lot of those people are coming over to comics and buying a lot of stuff. And I think that's driving a lot of the prices. Now, is something going to change that drives them away and then our prices drop here? I don't know. Or is there more to come still? And like 10 years from now, we'll be like, you remember when we thought $5,000 was going up too high back then, and now it's selling for 50 grand or 100. Like, it could be who knows? I don't know where it's going, but I know a lot of those people are coming over to comics because they see it as a more reliable store.
Have you seen that, Jeff? Like, have you been seeing an uptick of people who come in at kind of a high level, 5K or and above, maybe, that don't really know much?
I know a few sports card guys who just like are comfortable trading heavy dollars in sports cards, and they're just, happy as all hell to jump into comics just because it's, to them, it's so dealing with what we deal with. It's really far more scarce than the sports card numbers.
Yeah.
And they're super comfortable. And they look at, and they're like thinking that we're ridiculous to not be jumping in as much as we are, because they're so used to dealing with something that has far more copies and tradable. And I've known several people who've jumped right in with heavy dollar amounts, buying big books and feeling great about it, and have done really, really well the last couple of years in making that transition. So absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
What kind of mistakes would you say these people make, if there were any? What are the pitfalls?
Learning about comics a little bit. I mean, if you don't know about comics, but you just know how to buy and sell sports cards, I mean, yeah, you'll probably make a few mistakes here and there, but they're usually quick studies. I mean, when you know a collectible, it translates generally pretty well to other collectibles. You know how to research them, you know how to find them, and sometimes they cross over enough. They have people whose brains they can pick because they know other people, because, like I said, they do cross over, and they're not idiots. They know how to do it. They know how to work.
That's true. Like, a lot of these younger people are flippers too, but that's, I never learned more than when I had to sell some of my own stuff. That's when you learn real quick, like, what really is liquid or not liquid, or what you think is hyped up to a real value. You learn that real quick when you actually try to sell it yourself. So a lot of these, like you're saying, these guys are quick learners. They're fast. They know a lot already. Once you've done it yourself, even if with the sports, I'm sure you know what to look for.
Well, the sports card guys, they don't screw around. They're fast and loose, man. They come in here. They're not waiting for the right copy or the perfect price on an ASM 300. For them, it's got a low pop report, even an ASM 300, and they laugh at us when we say it's common, because they're coming from a place where there's like 50,000 lamellos on the pop report over there or something, and we're looking at like a couple grand and 9.8 and thinking it's common, and they're laughing at us and scarfing them up. And they don't take prisoners. They just crank it out. They're fast and loose, and that's just the sports card style. I mean, even if I've been to sports card shows and comic shows, obviously, and when I go to sports card shows, it's like amped up another level of negotiating and hustling, and like if you watched guy like serious card guys at a booth, it's, I don't know, there's far more energy. It's amped up, is all I can say over comics. Comics seems much more chill compared to sports cards. But then you also have Pokemon market. You know, Logan Paul got into Pokemon and it went through the roof. And honestly, I can't remember the last time I saw somebody proudly post their Charizard 10 or whatever it is, PSA 10. You know, I haven't checked the prices on those, but it seems like the steam has come out of the sales or whatever on Pokemon.
No, they're still pretty hot, man.
Really?
It's funny you said Logan Paul. He just did an unboxing on Whatnot, and I watched the whole freaking thing because he
Of
was
Pokemon?
of a base set, I think. He bought it on Heritage. It was all sealed in its original plastic in a hard case and stickers from Heritage. Like no one messed with it. He popped it open, and he had at one point 14,800 people live on there, and it was for free. All you had to click is that you wanted to be part of the draw, and he drew 36 packs, and 36 people were going to get lucky to win, you know, first generation Pokemon packs, and he would pop them open and he would see what they had. Nobody got a shiny Charizard, but there was like a shiny Bulbasaur, which I think was like, or shiny, Bulbasaur. No, not Bulbasaur. What's the Bulbasaur's evolution? I forget. Anyways,
I'm proud to say I don't know.
I think it was Bulbasaur. Maybe it was Bulbasaur. Oh, Blastoise, which is like the second best card from what I understand.
Oh, is that the blue one, the blue animal thing?
Yeah, with like the water guns. He's water type. Anyways, and then two shiny Mewtwo's. And so, I mean, people got some stuff and they got it for free, but it was quite the event. You know, to see almost 15,000 people in a space and giving away for free. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what, though. I mean, it makes sense they think like ASM 300 and 98 is rare because it doesn't seem to be any shortage of unopened first edition Pokemon boxes. Like I see them all. If you just do Pokemon on YouTube and filter by views, it's just one after another of people cracking open unopened boxes of this stuff. It's like a never-ending supply of unopened Pokemon material, like first edition. It's insane. And then with sports cards, it seems like pop reports get into the 5 digits easily. And yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it sort of makes sense. Those guys think this stuff is rare, and it doesn't take a lot of extra demand to push prices even on stuff like ASM 300 because you have, well, how many 9/8s are there? 3,000 or something. I mean, there's more than 3,000 of these guys from other collectible genres that have come over to comics this year. So them alone exceed the number of 9/8s out there.
Oh, they love Spidey 300s.
I know, dude. That's like their most
21s. They love Spidey 300s. They love 252s.
They love GSX1.
GSX, they love those bugs, man.
Yeah.
They love them.
I mean, the copper stuff is way too common for me, but I mean, I grew up with it. I at one point had all the copper keys in 9/8 except for the 300. I had like a 9/4 was the best I had on my PC. And then, I moved on from it just because that's what got me back into it, is picking up that box of comics from my parents' house that was in the basement for 20 some odd years. And so I just picked up where I left off, but I quickly fell down the Golden Age rabbit hole and I had to leave all that stuff behind to move forward. But the copper keys, man, these card guys love the copper keys. Those things have gone nuts this year, man. Like even the X-Men 266, they're all over the place, man. There's tons of those books. ASM 300, same deal, but ASM 252 is another one they love. They're cool books, but there's tons of them out there. But for them, they think there's not, and it makes sense from where they're coming from.
Some of those card, I mean, I don't know Pokemon, but like I know some of the Magic the Gathering numbers, and I was surprised at how low some of the prints. Like, so there's the first set, it's called Alpha, and it was very limited. But there's like rare, uncommon, common cards. The rare cards are only 1,100 each. So, like, if you want the Shivan Dragon Alpha Rare, there's only 1,100 of those. And you think back then people were playing,
a lot of high grade,
Reckonum, and Somewhere Lost, whatever. Like, that's not a lot. So some of that stuff, I mean, Pokemon, I get it.
Well, there's a lot of nostalgia too for these collectible markets, and I think the Golden Age stuff is insulated from any nostalgia downturn because none of us remember collecting a Zip 22 when we were kids. You know what I mean? There is no real nostalgia element for this stuff. It was all done before we were born. And so I think we're insulated in Golden Age from the nostalgia downturn. But you have stuff that goes crazy on nostalgia. And after the next generation, like, people are saying Miles Morales is going to be the next thing. Spider-Man may never be as popular again because the next generation, when they get to this age, they'll be all about Miles. Could be true. But for Golden Age, everybody is none of us had nostalgia for Golden Age when we were kids. So I feel like we're insulated from Golden Age from the nostalgia downturn. Or some of these other markets like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, I don't know. It's iffy. In 20 years, is anybody going to care about Pokemon? I mean, are kids today playing Pokemon? I don't know. Maybe they are. I really don't know. But
well, I watched a YouTube video, and this guy was talking about bidding on Pokemon cards, and then I heard him say like that he doesn't even know how to play it. So I was confused why he even cared about it. Was there like maybe it was a cartoon or something? Like I don't even.
I didn't even know anything about Pokemon. I knew nothing about it until like last year. I didn't know it was a game. I heard the word like stuff from when I was younger. I remember hearing the word Pokemon. I never knew what it was until last year. I didn't know it was a game or cards. I thought it was an anime thing. I had no idea what it was.
Well, how many of us read the Golden Age books we buy? We don't really open them and read them, yet we collect them, right? So I mean, you do.
Some.
Yeah.
Not all.
I have plenty of books I haven't read it through them, yeah. And if I did, I didn't read every freaking all 6 stories or whatever's in them.
Some of them are crap.
Well, for reading, when I get bronze books, I love cracking open bronze books that I've never read before, especially just like random ass issue of like Tomb of Dracula or something, like non-key. That stuff's so fun to read. When I get a Zip 22 or something, I'm not going to read that. I'm just going to check it to make sure it's complete and unrestored, or I'll just try and buy it already slabbed so I don't have to mess with it. And then I have a nice framed piece of art, basically, is it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way as you. Like, I think of this as an art print.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a limited number art print.
So here's a question, like, as we round out this year and we go into 2022, what do we all foresee for 2022 in the world of Golden Age comics? I know there's a whole, every year has got.
Well, we gotta go through my list here because I don't think JD's come back.
Is he
he's got a kids party or something he's doing tonight?
Why don't I can share because I think we'd want to see this first before that question.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't know if anyone who's manning the.
Well, Chad may or may not still be behind the scenes. So if he is, he'll make you big. And
I'll share, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just share it, and if he puts it up, cool. And if not, we'll just continue discussing whatever.
Chad, can you make Knights of Old big?
Is he there?
No. Was that Bewitched or I Dream of Genie, Jeff? Which one was that?
That was I Dream of Genie. Okay, I think Bewitched did. Tabitha did like this nose thing.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you're showing your age. My wife just laughed from the other room.
I'll tell you another thing though. While we're waiting to see if Knights is going to get big or not, see if the PIM particles work on him or not. But in the meantime, I think another important thing affecting all collectibles and all like hard assets is the economy, like inflation. Look, people are talking about hedges against inflation. That's a common thing when there's inflation. You want to buy stuff that has intrinsic value or at worst extrinsic value like art. And as the dollar buys less and less, the assets become worth more and more. So they maintain their value and the price goes up with inflation. And so I think that's partly what's driving some prices in collectibles. I'm not going to go on a Bitcoin rant, but I think at some point, and maybe it's in the coming year, things like Bitcoin and NFTs are not going to be so popular because I think people are going to become aware of the disconnect between those things and hedging against inflation because they're not actual things. They're not, I don't see Bitcoin or NFTs as hedges against inflation. They don't have any, they're not hard assets. Now, maybe I'm just old and grumpy, but this inflation can have an effect on assets like comic books and drives the prices higher because, if a gallon of milk costs $50, you're going to be willing to pay more for a comic book that's worth, 100 gallons of milk. Instead of being $100, it's going to be $500, and it will just make sense with what you have to work with to be willing to pay more for it, and that will drive prices too. I think we'll see that more next year as well.
I don't know if that will affect all comics though.
I think things such as like Bitcoin I think that stuff's kind of with us to stay in some degree or another. But but I think it'll probably take a hit with inflation as the that Bitcoin and all of that type of currency is sort of a hedge against fiat anyways, and it's fared well because of low inflation. I suspect the higher inflation is going to have its own hit on it. But now we're sounding like an economy class, like at your local community college. So it's going to say, anyways, I'll be quiet. So we have a list. We have a list going.
I think it's going to be a good year for 2022 for comics. I think people are still going to be dealing with COVID. That's still going to be around next year, and people still going to be wanting to stay home. Still going to be staying home.
I'm saying,
I'm telling you, people are staying focused on doing the things they love, and that's collecting comics for them.
Right.
And so they're going to still stay down that path, and that's going to be really good for us. Like the booster shot. This is the boost for our comics, booster shots of comics. This COVID, not to be crude or rude about it, but it really has helped people get into doing something they really loved and always maybe wanted to do, and giving them that time to do that. And I don't think that's going to change next year.
Yeah, you were at Emerald Con, right? How did you set up there, or did you just simply
Hey.
Oh God. It's old-fashioned time. I have all the children out of the house.
I just
Are they just wandering the streets? Robbing liquor stores? No?
They should. If they come back with anything, let me know.
So Jeff, it's like what your thoughts of what did what did you see out there? People asking for? I'll be quiet. I'm just kind of curious what your opinion on what you saw.
Oh, I was set up there, and I'll tell you this: it was a lot of people didn't set up. The show floor was very sparse, and attendance was absolutely horrible. Horrible. But they limited the attendance. They didn't make it easy for attendees at all. If you were below the age of 11, you still had to be vaccinated or show a proof of vaccination within 48 hours. Who the hell was going to do that? I have no idea, considering the vaccination for kids below 11 came out like a month ago, but prior to that.
Yeah, right.
And that was just a very much read rules. That wasn't Washington State. That's just what they wanted. And then you had to get a proof of vaccination, which was like a block away. You had to go get a bracelet, then go back to the show floor area to get your badge or whatever to go into the con. Oh my God, it was such a poop show. But I still sold well, and I sold random stuff, but most of my sales were just happened to be I was at a con and posted some stuff online and sold stuff.
Gotcha.
But as for attendance, man, it was garbage. I don't know if Chicago was better.
It certainly seemed to be lighter. It was still busy. Which like I said, I know from a selfish perspective, I'd rather just pay more for the ticket and have less people. But I know it doesn't work that way for the actual people setting up. I get that. It was nice to have the room, but it was still decent, it seemed. But we had the same setup. We had basically to show like a evidence of vaccination, then you got a bracelet, and then you picked up your badge, and you activated your badge, then you went through security and everything. So it was a little bit more so. But it seemed like there was still a fair amount of dealers there, but could have been it was just sort of the last hurrah for 2021 as the last big show, really. And so, but
well, I'm not going to any shows again ever until I can just go to a show. I'm not getting the vaccine ever. I'm not taking any tests. I had COVID, whatever. If it gets back to normal, I'll go to cons again, but otherwise I'll just stay home buying auctions and Instagram, whatever. But I know I'm not the only one that's like that. And that's, I'm not some high roller, but I usually take, 8 or 10 grand to a con to spend as like my budget. And that money's being spent elsewhere. I know I'm not the only one, so all this is doing is costing dealers like Jeff and other people who set up at these cons potential sales, and you have to deal with all that extra BS to have less people to buy from you. I don't know. It's unfortunate, and I don't think it's necessary. And I, for one, am not going to any cons until I can just go to a con like normal. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. And it's fine. I'm not even complaining about it. I'm just not going to go. You know what I mean? So.
Baltimore didn't require the vax, which was okay, but I had to show a negative test, which was fine. But I'm with DS. I've already decided I'm not going to any con that requires a vaccine in any city, that requires a vaccine in any way to go inside. That's just not what I'm going to do. I mean, I shouldn't even bring up the vaccine, but just my personal opinion of it. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but whether or not I'm vaxxed or not, that's not the reason I'm not going. It's because of that. I know a lot of dealers that are like, look, I'd rather just do it online. One guy in particular who I love dealing with said, you will not see me at a con probably ever again. I'm not paying that money. I get more while I lose the foot traffic. The social media world has gotten me twice as many sales, and COVID kind of said I cut my expenses down per last year, and I made more money online selling. And you know, he did make money with the auctions, so that kind of. And also, I joke with him saying, "You're talking about a peak time, you know. Let's talk about what books we're talking about." But I will go to Planet Comic-Con because they're in Missouri. So
You want to see these top 10 lists?
yeah, I'll bring them now.
Yeah, give them the pin particle.
You guys did a great job. I was watching the show and listening to it on my phone like this, and I was like,
I'm giving the pin particle. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Boom. All right, here we go. So the first list, this is all the Golden Age comics that sold on Heritage above 100K. And then I did a more interesting list year by year of each Golden Age year for all the top 10 books below 100K. So I figure I'll start here. And go kind of fast because maybe this is kind of you figured this would happen.
So what do you guys think? Who's the person who buys this Batman for 2.2 million? What kind of person buys that? What do you think? Is it just a old school comic book collector? Is it like a hedge fund?
Well, he's got it for sale already, or he's just asking offers, fielding offers.
I think that's just if you don't check off a check mark, they do that.
Setting, I think.
Yeah, do you think it's a guy who would take 3.3 million after paying 2.2?
He probably doesn't check his emails.
I think he might.
I mean, that's a 50% gain in that quick a time, and it's like over $1 million. I would think 90% chance the dude would take it if you offered that.
I think they set that number. He set that number.
No, I think
there was a 9.4 that apparently sold to 3.4.
I think Heritage. You might set it, but I think Knights is right. If memory serves, there's like a feature, like a button you basically push or don't push, like if you're taking offers.
Yeah, I just think there's a percentage they do, but I don't know if it's that much of a percentage.
Yeah.
You have to go over a certain amount because Heritage won't let you sell it for under a certain amount. It's just kind of stupid.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I take the counter approach. I say somebody who bought the book for 2.2 million doesn't really. There's a chance that somebody just doesn't really give a damn if they make it. They just wanted the book. The money doesn't really matter to them as much.
Yeah, they're not trying to make 100K.
Yeah,
the person that bought this didn't want a Batman one. He wanted this Batman one.
Yeah, I mean, but who knows? I mean,
I'd rather have the detective. That's for sure.
I was going to say the tech is probably the better book of the two.
Yeah, the dude probably already has a tech in a higher grade.
Yeah.
He bought both.
Yeah, maybe he bought both, honestly.
That 6.0 Action 1's going to dwarf. I bet it doubles at that.
Look at this
one. Yeah.
I think it'll double the Batman one.
Cheaper this is,
Well, the 3.0 recently sold for what, 1.6?
I can't see a 6. I mean, I think you and I talked about it. I think 4.5 to 5 at most.
I think like at least like a 4. I think in and around
Because
4
then-
million or more. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
is there anything truth to the statement that a Raw action sold for 4.5 million?
Yeah, I heard that.
I'm sure it's a
I've
BS
heard-
story that someone put out there because there's one
Well,
for sale. One of these big
Rumor
auction
has
houses
it a
did that.
specific book was sold, not the Mile High. I'm going to say that now, but apparently in the same caliber of that. So it's interesting.
I think it's interesting that a rumor is out there of this alleged action book that's sold before there's a big action sale.
Yeah.
I think that's some sketchy BS nonsense put out by some auction house.
It's
But-
fishy. It's fishy.
But if we do see, well, right, I agree with you on that, Jeff.
I don't think you really have to. The other argument is you don't need to bump up that Action 1 a 6.0 rocket copy with. They posted pictures. I usually don't see this. Heritage posted pictures of the interior of that book
Yeah.
before it was slapped to show how good the paper was. And it is insanely nice inside. The inside cover is bright white. The pages are white. I mean, it's beautiful paper quality. That is an awesome copy. So I don't think you need to do anything to bump that up. So who knows if there's a private sale or not. But
I'm surprised to see this this Riddler comic next to that action.
Well, isn't the Phantom Lady coming up?
Oh yeah,
It's tied.
yeah, so who buys the Phantom Lady for $500,000? I mean, that's who buys that? That's like you got to be somebody
He's
who.
taking offers right now for 250. If you're interested,
What?
I'm kidding. I mean,
Okay.
I would.
I still wouldn't
honestly,
give
that book is
250.
not worth. That's not. I mean, to me, 2 of those books aren't worth that. So that's just my opinion. It's my opinion. And I'm not no Phantom Lady expert on that, but I just know that I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah, and in our chat, Scott D is saying, and he's referencing a reputable guy we all know.
Yeah, it was definitely not the Mile High, like I said. Yeah.
And he's saying it's completely substantiated rumor. So
Yeah.
who knows
I'm not
if
sure
it's-
why this
I
massive.
mean, I had a person reach out to me about it in specific, and I said I did not hear about it, and the joke was you need about he thinks it's a complete rumor as it is. So
Yeah, that mask is cool.
I'm
yeah,
not sure.
that mask is perfect right there.
Okay. We have the
More text.
a lot of restored.
Well, any conserved in
So many Batmans. And, I mean, it's just your usual suspects, except for that Phantom Lady. This was
Oh wow.
a cool cap to see. These 2 caps.
yeah.
Cool to
I
see.
still think that. I mean,
Those are weird to see.
Yeah, especially that one. What is it? 36.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm surprised there.
Yeah, I was watching
Well,
those
it's-
books, man. It's crazy.
It's a great book, 36. It's a classic.
200 grand.
Again, $200,000. It's a lot of money.
I was surprised with that Marvel family too.
Yeah, that's true. The Rock probably bought it.
I
Is
think
that
that
first
one,
Black Adam?
this one's justified.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
46 cap. I love that. That's cool. And then there's a lot. So when I was looking at all these books, there's clearly at least 3 or 4 super high grade DC collectors out there.
Yeah.
Because there's ton, like all the Batman, Supermans, even the dumbest. I mean, this one's a good one, but
Oh yeah, that subby was my. Now I'm biased because I know DS is not a big fan of pedigrees, but that is the best pedigree for that book. I mean, that is
That's
amazing
good.
copy. Yeah, that's an amazing copy, and I love that first Solomon Grundy right there. The
I'm surprised
suspense-
at that
it's
suspense.
suspense 11. Yeah, that's a 9.8 maybe that. Now the Starling freaks me out.
Jesus, 132. God.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable for that because that's one of those transcendent works of art that is.
But
More
aren't
just
there
older.
9.8s though?
There's 9.8s, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure there are.
I think there's
9.8s.
2
What
9.8s.
was this?
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to see what that Phantom Lady grade was. 9.6.
9.6.
It'd be interesting to see filtering out the promise books what were in there
Yeah.
for the year. It's kind of an anomaly year with the promise
Yeah.
books.
Although
Yeah,
there
that was
weren't
a
many
whole-
9.8s in other
That was a highly
Non-comic.
publicized pedigree that brought a lot of eyes onto the auctions.
Oh,
There's
the
one.
Pun. That's my favorite book right there. One that's
Good
sold.
one.
73. Look at that Dr. Fate.
Chamber Chills.
Oh, we know who won that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's another transcendent cover. That has broad appeal that goes beyond just PCH collectors or Golden Age. Everybody in comics knows that Chamber Chills cover. Everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that's the same with the that Phantom Lady.
I don't know. I bet I
I-
don't think Silver Age collectors or Copper Age collectors have any idea about that Phantom Lady
That's
17.
the Good Girl art book.
Yeah, but
Good
that's
Girl art is
right.
bigger
But
than that.
you're not
I can't
Silver Age.
think
But the thing about Chamber of Chills is you see Chamber of Chills on T-shirts that aren't necessarily being worn at Comic Cons. You see Chamber of Chills 19 image on a few things. I don't see the Phantom Lady image other than there. In my opinion,
I think the Phantom Lady is more of a niche book than
Yeah.
like even Mask 1, I think, is more well known than Phantom Lady.
I don't know about that, or more.
I would say Chamber of Chills 19 is probably outside of the superhero genre the most recognizable, instantaneous Golden Age horror book there is. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again, not just horror, but Dark GA, a non-superhero book. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, the only other one I could put in that category is a Fantastic Three, and I think that's just in my head.
Suspense 3 is amazing.
Suspense Three is
Yeah, but outside of Golden Age, do you think like your random Copper Age collector knows what a Suspense 3 is or a Fantastic 3? I know
No.
or Phantom Lady 17, but they know Chamber Chills 19
know
and they
Chamber
know
Chills.
Startling 49.
Show that Dr. Fate book again. That was my favorite one in the bunch.
Dr.
Well,
Fate.
he's being told that-
Morpheus 73. Do you have that book, Jeff?
I don't. When I was in the room during that promise auction, I'm telling you, man, people were just stunned at that Phantom Lady auction. Like, just every time there was another bid, you could see everybody was dumbfounded.
It had to be
It
just
was
two
not
guys really going at it.
Was the
anywhere.
guy who won it there?
No, I was the only person there. This is the other stupid thing. It's this big, huge collection that I was so excited for the hobby, and I get there, I was the only one live. Like, I couldn't
really?
believe it. I thought it was going to be this event, and people were going to show up. I was the only one there. God. So, I don't know. It's a little disappointing on that. I expected more from you guys. Come on, man. Expect you guys there.
I was very happy that the sale of the Chamber of Chills broke the 100,000. I thought it was a good move.
I'll tell you, if I would have went to the promise auction and hung out with you live there, Jeff, that would have basically consisted of my promise auction budget. The trip there. That's where I'm at. So I just, like I said in the chat, I just sat back and enjoyed watching this stuff. And it was super cool knowing some people that were in the room and getting some like real-time updates. And it was just, man, I had a blast. And I think I bought my Wiz 18 on the Sunday or Saturday session of the promise auction. After all the good stuff was gone, I snagged that little worthless book, and I was super happy about it. But yeah, it was just fun to watch this promise auction.
I mean, the Silver Age just to see comparison.
Yeah. Sean made a good point too. I did have another buddy who met me on day 2. So he was there. So we both had a good time. Nate, yeah. So,
classic guy.
Oh, Nate's awesome. Kia collector.
Wow, look at this.
He's putting on that show next year, Collector Summit.
The top
We
four.
were talking about that, Lewis and I going. The one in
Come on over.
Kentucky. Where is it, Lewis?
Bellevue.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Out of Seattle.
We were thinking about, at least I was thinking about heading out there. It seemed like it might be kind of a neat event.
I think it'll
I
be
might
the
just
event.
go to do a show there.
Come on over, guys.
You guys surprised about any of these sales?
I can't predict Silver Age anymore, man. People,
I can't.
I can't do it anymore.
3 million. That's a lot.
I mean,
Well, look, I mean, the type of buyers has changed this year, where it's not just your standard comic people. There's a whole influx of people coming in, and so they're gravitating towards the marquee stuff. So AF-15 has been lit up, and it doesn't surprise me to see that one go that high. That
Nice.
million.
Amazing
I
Spider-Man
can
14.
I can almost say after the most recent film, I expect Spider-Man to have what I call the Silver Age Spider-Man bump, and they may drag some more, or may make some room for some other books. It's one of those things where maybe they're going to take a break from buying all the other key superhero Silver Age books and focus on the Spider-Man. Maybe there's a chance something does happen, but with all the speculation market, which I know I've knocked it in the past, I'm actually a fan of it, just because it's only helped.
Look at that. All early Spider-Man stuff at the whole top of the list, other than that FF1.
Yeah.
It's just
there's one X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men 1 in a high grade, but ahead of
Grade
that
level
was
nine.
like ASM 2 and ASM 14. Like those
Yeah, well,
ASMs
when that
are
ASM
two books.
14 is I mean, right now I love the fact that 3 is getting the bump it deserves.
Yeah, I think after issue number 1, I think 3 and 14 are probably the two biggest in
Yep.
that run.
314. I always thought 4, while it's not I always thought that the Strange Tales with the Sandman was a cooler cover. Strange Tales 115 was a cooler cover for a second appearance, but 4 kind of has grown on me.
I love 4.
4 kind of grew on me this year more than any other Silver Age book grew on.
Well, I'll
me.
tell you, aside from the availability of it's going to keep the price below the other ones, but I honestly think right now, after 1, 3, and 14, number 50 is the most popular ASM book.
Kingpin?
Yeah, dude, that book is insanely hot. It's just that there's so many copies. It holds it.
I was going to say, there's so many of those. I've had that. I flipped that enough times.
Yeah, well, he just appeared on the show. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, again, I expect it to continue, and I'm happy about
All right, here's top 10 from 1938. Under 100K.
it. Okay.
So
big drop, 60.
it's your usual.
Why is that one so expensive, by the way?
Oh, wait a minute.
Second cover appearance of Superman.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Action 7 was big. What's the one after that? Was that a pre-hero action? No, was that no
Yeah. Well,
non-hero cover
well, not pre-hero.
third Superman, right?
Well, which one?
Is he in action? Which one is it? Is he in?
He's in all of them.
Yeah, he's in all.
He's in all of them. Okay. There was one.
Those were the two cover. That's the second cover.
1 and 7, right?
Yeah, 7's his second cover appearance,
Right.
and then it starts alternating covers, I believe, every other.
Yeah, up until like 19. I think at 19 it starts continuous covers.
Yeah,
Right.
they had to put in a survey, and I forget, in issue 4, I believe, to find out why the book was selling. They didn't know what was driving the title, and apparently everyone wrote in that it was Superman. So then eventually took over as the
No,
cover.
7.5 Centaur.
Yeah, that Amazing Mystery Funnies, I'll tell you, in 5 or 10 years from now, is going to be a massive book because
I'm on
the
your
cover.
bed.
It's not the earliest Centaur, but it's one of the earliest Centaurs, and it is the first issue of basically the
Correct.
Centaur run, like the main Centaur run, and that's Everett early stuff. Tough to find. I think that whoever got that for 12.
That's a bargain. That's a bargain. DS, I can't agree with you more. I was talking to somebody about Centaurs who has that book, Raw, and we've been discussing it. What do you think it is? He says it's very fine plus. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, 7.5 of that for 12K, I think is an absolute steal. On that
I
book.
told him right now, I says, if you were to get that slabbed and it had higher than a 7.5, I can't see it going less than for 20 grand if you wanted to.
I mean, I kind of regret not going harder on that 4. There was a 4.0 or 4.5, I think, in the first Promise auction, or maybe the one after or something, and it only went for $5 grand, and I regret not going after that one a little harder. But yeah, that's a good book to pick up.
Yeah, DS. No, I'm into the Centaurs again. It's been a
All
while.
right, here we go. 39.
So you got
Just 1939 under 100 grand.
Yep.
Oh, I see what you're
number
doing.
40.
Yeah.
Adventure 440. I'm not going to get into
Dang, 87K for a 2.5, huh?
Yeah.
Of what? Tech 31.
That book's all over the place, man. It's so
I've seen him
interesting.
go. I mean, I saw a 4.0 go for 45 grand a year and a half ago. Not even.
Yeah, but that one has the gray cowl.
I guess people.
And it is a nice looking one. You know,
Is the gray cowl that? Did anybody know the ratio?
I don't know. There's a gray cowl and a blue cowl, and to
Not
me, they're
mystery,
both
man.
cool. I
These are
didn't
the-
know there was a variant until recently that there was 2 different colors on it. I didn't even know that until this
Look
year.
how we're
Wow.
geeking out about variants, guys. Golden Age variants are out.
Look at us modern age guys.
Ratio variants, guys. What's the
variance.
ratio?
Tech
See,
30.
there's a gray cowl and a blue cowl. Which one do you guys like
Yeah.
better?
I like the
think they're
blue.
both cool.
Yeah, I
Well,
like the
I'll take either
blue.
one. If
Blue.
Blue?
if you, I like blue. My own thing.
I mean, the Mask comics, Mask 1 has a variant too. Also.
8.5, 45. Woo. Bargain.
Yeah, but you
Superman.
see that 8.5 for 45. This is what I've been saying for a while. Heavily restored Golden Age books nobody wants them because it's not cheap enough to be worth picking up, and it's
Nobody, I don't
expensive
know.
enough that you
Somebody.
get so much other quality stuff that it just prices on these massive Golden Age books when they're heavily restored are in the toilet. Honestly,
Yeah, but hey,
I actually
I thought that's more than before. It would have been.
one of the shows that I've been asked to do is to go over restoration percentages.
Oh.
And I said, I really can't do it because of the different levels. I mean, I know enough to where I don't touch it if it's a C3. I won't even look at it.
I mean, look at that Superman. What was that? How much did that Superman sell for?
The 9.0?
No, the one above it, the Superman 1. 3.5, 45 grand. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not
it's
even near half of what that book would sell.
No, but
yeah,
I
but
feel,
imagine
not
if you,
not
if you
not
bought
even
that
that.
for
That's not
like,
even 30% what that book would be.
but
if
isn't
you
it
bought
gone
for
up?
5K, but like 10 years ago, though,
It's
you're
probably gone up.
happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone up, but I
Super
mean,
happy.
in Silver Age, if you have a book that's restored, it's like half the value of a Universal. In Golden Age Grails like that,
It's even less.
it's like a
It's near-
fifth,
Yeah,
It's
look,
50% of the value. It just takes a
I-
huge.
I would consider them reprints almost to a certain ones that are heavily restored and not knocking restoration. If you've got a piece of shit book that's falling apart that you want to restore, go ahead, do it. Go ahead. If you think it's going to get a 0.5 and you can bump it up to a 5.0 and save you, and you want to keep the book, that's fine. But if you're going to spend that money, you know, $8 grand on restoration on
Yeah, I mean,
white paper and everything else like that, and you expect to get your money back on it, you're going to be hard to get a true Golden Age cult collector. As much as they may want the book, they rather buy a back cover missing 0.5 than your 4.5 heavily restored.
I
All
think
right, well,
that-
which one would you take for this? Which one would you take?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on the restoration. I mean, I think everyone pretty much agrees the Plaw, the purple label of death, is what it is. But I am definitely seeing a lot more people trying to get these mega blue chips any way they can, and they are starting to accept restored and conserved. And I feel the numbers are rising on those books more than where they used to be.
Yeah.
Not saying they'll ever be near the same, of course not.
Concern
Yeah,
hasn't bothered me as much as I.
You know.
I just this past week won a heritage auction on a book, and it was the first restored book that I allowed myself to buy that I could think of.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those that I finally just were like, hey, it's so.
But you got a good
so-
deal on it.
Yeah, it's so tough and so hard to find that I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy the restored solely because I don't know if I can ever get it or find it. But I'm with you on the Golden Age group.
Well, I'm gonna
Talking
throw
about the
this out
keys.
there.
Talking
And
about
you
the
guys
keys.
may not agree, but I think going forward from this point for a while, a better investment value for growth of value is a 0.5 missing back cover over the restored. I think the
0.5,
missing back
right.
cover unrestored stuff is going to appreciate at a higher rate than the restored books in the Golden Age.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
kind of think missing back covers are going to be a huge.
Well, it depends on the restoration.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. If it's A1, which is professional, not extensive, like barely any, I'm interested. I'll be dead honest with you. If it's professionally done, it's there. if it's B1 and it's a key, I wouldn't poo-poo at it so bad. Once it hits that 3 level, A, B, or C, or any C level, I'm like, I'd rather have a Silver Age restored than have a Golden Age restored.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like
Rather
if you
wait
go
for
on,
the back cover missing.
yeah, it's like for me, if you go on a date with a girl and she has too much makeup on, I'm not interested because you can't tell what she really looks like, so I'm done with her. That's how
I'm
I feel
dating
about
myself,
politics.
but the water bra fucked me up in college a lot more than
All right, so which one would you take? I agree with this action too.
Yeah, I think that's the best one. The
Yeah.
Action 7.
Action 7.
I
But
do like
no,
that.
the
like
best
that.
buy of that whole bunch is that 7.5 centaur.
I
man.
do like that too. Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that
that's
tech
the
too in the
best
cave. That's a cool one.
All
All
right.
right. And how about this one?
Notice no.
Oh, God.
Again, 87
That's a
grand
tough-
for a 2.5.
That's a tough choice.
The Sandman 7.5. I'd probably go the Sandman, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've never had a
I'm
Sandman.
not a big Batman
Probably
guy. I
a
like Sandman, Dr. Fate, Spectre more, you know? Like, I'm a more fun guy than I am. I'm more fun than I am detective. I love adventure more than detective.
And that one looks nice too. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's a white pager too, dude. 7.5 white pages.
I'm not knocking Tech 31. It's iconic, but
It's
it's
a nice
not
looking
my
2.5
personal
from
favorite.
here.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It presents a lot better than the 2.5. I will say that.
All right, here we go. 1940.
It's gonna be Batman all over. Oh,
It's a nice whiz.
that's a nice whiz.
Yeah, I wish somebody said I present better than a 2.5. That'd be awesome.
You're VG.
Yeah, I was just gonna say right, but I present so well.
I'll take
Well,
the
Lewis,
3.5 for less.
the older you get, the more acceptable that low grade is going to be. So don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
remember that.
I gotta get conserved or restored or something.
All right,
There you go.
I got to ask Jeff about
There's
the
your
red.
0.5s.
Can you bring up that red?
Yeah,
red
57
Raven?
grand. You see what I mean?
Wait, bring up that red Raven. Hang on,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Your opinion on this book going for 57 grand? And we know, and I know the pedigree and the build right. It's a big deal because it's
that book's always restored. I'll be quiet.
Is that the
and
highest
that is a
graded?
blue label Red Raven.
Is that the highest graded? Or what's the highest grade on this book?
There is a mile high. I don't know if it's graded though.
Well, I don't know if he graded his.
I don't think he did.
He's held it, but I always said
He
that
wants
that's
more
part
than
of-
that for it.
Again, it doesn't have a lot of. It doesn't have the superhero, and it's a cool cover, but it's scarce.
So hey, here's a deal on that Red Raven. I could be
Yeah.
crazy. However, if somebody looks at the CGC census, I think aren't like half of or more of the books that Red Ravens are all restored for some, and I don't know why that is, but I don't know. Pick a number. If there's 60, 70, whatever there is on the census.
No, there's like 10.
There's 10. There's not a lot of those.
Yeah, but
It's Red Raven one.
aren't most of
Red
them
Raven
restored?
one.
Maybe I'm crazy, but it seems like a lot of them are restored.
Honestly, Jeff, have you ever?
I had a chance at a 6.0 for this book and for a screaming price. And then when I agreed to it, the guy all of a sudden said he wanted to keep it for his personal collection.
Yeah,
was
that's
so
what I
frustrating.
hear about
I
it.
hate that.
Yeah.
I get that every time. I
Is that
tried.
Terry?
Huh?
This.
Was it Terry?
No.
No, I actually
And I'm
in
frustrated.
2005, I was in New York. I was at New York Comic Con, and I saw a raw copy of Red Raven 1. I didn't know the restoration level or anything else like that. CGC was right now went to their level 2 or level 3 slabs, and they were there. And I was debating on buying and giving it to them to grade it. And as soon as I made the offer, which would be, I'm not kidding you, is less than 1/3 of that price, even less than that.
Mhm.
I think it's that book. It's a little less than that. It was a lot of money, but I sold an X-Men collection that day, and I offered him the X-Men collection and $3 grand, which was X-Men 1 through 9, I think. All of them sitting there raw for that book. And he said, I don't think I could ever find this again. And he said, if you ever find one again, let me know. I'll be the first one to buy it off you to replace the one that you're going to get. I said, okay, let's do the deal. And the guy pulled over to him, whispered in his ear, never get rid of the book. His partner said he knows how I wanted that book, not so much because I like the book. I just knew I've never seen it. It's the book I saw 2 Fantastic Threes before I saw Red Raven 1. You know,
This is weird. There's like a lot of the census on this book's weird. They're like mostly high grade copies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was gonna say, aren't there? I mean, I thought there was like 40-ish, and like half of them were restored for some weird.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
I'm wrong.
You can see that, right?
Yeah, there's only like 6 restored copies. But even on the blue labels, there's only 2 that are below a 4.0.
No, there's 26 restored copies, right? 25.
Oh yeah, 26 total. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 blue, which is not a lot, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a 2021. I'm talking 17 years ago.
Oh wow.
17 years ago, I was into this book. So I mean, I was into it because of that. Because of this, there was a story behind it. I've always heard that the Red Raven was like so well received that people that were buying comics loved it so much that the storyline was going to continue, and then it just ended.
What's the key? Is there a key aspect to this? I obviously don't know much.
I mean, it's a Jack Kirby cover.
Yep,
it's his first signed work.
correct.
I was experienced the Raven, but
Am I crazy? Is it? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was like the first Simon and Kirby work.
It's
together.
the first collaboration of Simon and Kirby together. It's the first comic that it is.
Okay.
It's 1940. Yeah.
I thought that was the.
It's
He-
Simon.
They worked on Blue Bolt
Well,
Not in 40.
before that.
wait, Blue Bolt.
We'll take this outside later.
No, we got to find this out because the other part about it is Red Raven.
Just get this one.
That's a good book. Attack of the Red Raven.
Different Red Raven, yeah.
It's not the same. But the other thing about the Red Raven, as I always had this people that always told me that the Red Raven was the story behind it was they ended it to do some other book, and
Human Torch,
and the rest is history.
I mean, it doesn't even feel like a Kirby cover when you look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like a Lou Fine cover. You know, when you stare at it.
It's
I'm
very
a
different.
timely collector, and there's so many cooler timely books. So
All right. So what's a better book, Red Raven or Wonder Comics 1?
Wonder Comics 1, I think Red
I
Raven
think-
for me.
I think
Red Raven, I take Red Raven. But,
I would take the Red Raven over the. I mean, I love him. I'm not.
but I'd rather have a daring mystery one.
We're not comparing apples and tomatoes here. I mean,
I feel like the Wonder Comics and the Red Raven are sort of similar books. Am I wrong?
it's just different people. It's again, there weren't after Jumbo 1, right? After Jumbo 1, when Kirby went to Timely, this was one of the early times that you actually get a chance to see something that wasn't, there's no Captain America, no Marvel 1 involved in this. This is
Yeah, I'm passing on it. It doesn't do
yeah.
anything.
Okay. I mean, it was just a book that I offered the guy, but it's the same thing I've always heard. I'll never find another one. Is what I always told.
It's just it's a recognized rare book in the Golden Age collectible that people
it's timely,
respect and appreciate it, and it's a
which
timely.
there are more timelies than there are like the other. This is a harder timely to get. How about that? Of all the timelies, maybe not Marvel 1, but
Well, maybe one day if I ever buy a timely, I'll look into it more. But I tried to buy a timely recently.
maybe
Actually,
Blue Bolt 3, because I think you're right. I think Blue Bolt 3 was the first one.
Yeah.
It was the original costume. I know that.
I mean, Blue Bolt was before they went there. I think, was it 3 that Kirby went on it? Because Simon did it first.
Simon was the first, right?
And then Kirby came on. Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah. Okay, I got this. Hold on, right here. Here we go. All right. So we got.
Yep, that's the cover. That's the
God damn it.
original costume.
Oh, Jesus. I never pressed that button. Okay, so this is the church one. It says first Collaboration by Simon and Kirby.
What?
$740.
Maybe it's
And-
a cover.
And
I mean,
when was Raven?
what's it say on the
Well, that-
Raven.
It's Jack Kirby's first signed work.
Right.
So take that for
Because
what
he
that's
did Jumbo
worth.
1. He did Jumbo 1.
It's his first cameo signature of Jack Kirby.
Red Raven is $840. Cover. You know,
Just kidding.
Okay.
cover date.
Okay. Yeah, but Blue Bolt 1 was. Oh, here we go. Only a single issue was published, cover date August 40. It was replaced by the title Human Torch, which began issue number 2, fall of 1940. Right. Sean's 100% right. There was all this talk about it back then. To me, it was New York Comic Con and the guys at Midtown Comics, the Greek guy, Dimitri, him and I tried to make a deal for it. I ended up getting 50% off at Midtown for about 10 years.
Yeah, I think the problem with these peps, not the problem with the peps themselves, but remember that auction that had all those high grade peps, and then it had a bunch of other mid grade peps or MLJs, high grade. There's so many MLJs in that auction.
Yeah, I
I feel
remember.
like that hurt the prices on some of the MLJs because there's only so many guys out there willing to spend this money on MLJs, and there's too many in one auction. That's what I feel like. I feel like if you spread these out, they all get higher prices.
I think
9.8 Mile High, though. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it should be more than 48.
Louis, did you show your pickup, your zip?
we did.
Yeah.
How many people said they want that book?
All of them.
Well, a few. Look, I know who wants that book.
Yeah.
There's a line to get that book.
When he told me he got it, I kind of looked at him. I gave a down look with my eyes, and I'm like, I'm not saying anything. Just show it on the
I almost would feel guilty otherwise, but except that it was on eBay for like 4 days and nobody grabbed it.
So DS, would you rather have these Batmans or these Batmans?
I would rather have, I mean, they're different prices, but I would rather have a 0.5 missing the back cover than one of those restored ones. Yeah, almost the same price though.
I'm actually the same boat with that.
I mean, it depends on the restoration.
I'll
I
take
might
that.
go with the Harold Curtis.
But I like this Wiz, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
torn between
Look at the
what,
punch.
I'd like. You don't want the Wiz 3.5 for less?
Yeah, well, there might be a reason
I
why.
might
Well,
go
his
the Wiz
foot,
3.5.
look at that corner. I don't like that corner gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His foot is missing.
His Air Force Ones. The Tech 38's pretty awesome though too.
Yeah. You don't see that too often.
And a
That
5.0.
In a 5.0, it's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you think has
Robin gets
legs?
some rap. I think Robin's pretty cool.
Yeah, what do you think has better legs? The first Robin or first Captain Marvel? Or
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a toss up.
I mean, if the Wiz was a 5, I would definitely take that.
it probably wouldn't be in the 78,000 range. At that
Now we got to
point.
say, my aunt had balls should be the king of England, you know?
Right.
I don't know. It wasn't a 6.0 sold for like 200 recently, right?
Yeah.
I take the Wiz, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I know a guy with a 4.0 blue label that he was so upset he got a 4.0 he thought it was better. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought it was better too. It presented better.
1941.
Oh, we're
Cover,
gonna
and this is cover,
yeah, right?
not actual.
Oh, it's under 100K.
Yep.
All right.
Pep. Oh, that's a nice one.
Can I see some more
Ooh.
fun or what?
First Archie appearance.
Yeah.
30, almost 30K below it. Oh, yeah, the grade is significantly.
Of all the MLJs, I'm least like that are expensive. I'm least concerned about Pep 21.
21 or 22?
21. I don't care so much about
Am I crazy? There was a time
No,
like
Pep-
it seemed earlier in my life like wasn't like the Wiz 2, Wiz 1, whatever you want to call it, was actually valued higher than the Batmans. I mean,
yes,
seemed
it
like-
was.
Yeah, it was.
Up until 1988, Wiz
Yeah.
2 was valued in every Overstreet guide $1,000 more than a Tech 27.
Okay.
He's just
Yeah.
not in the
But
forefront
when
of
you
pop
put
culture
Michael
anymore.
Keaton in a movie with Jack Nicholson, and you don't do that with Shazam, and we have that 70s TV show to remember, there was a difference. And Bob, you won the discussion we're having. The 1988 price guide that showed a Wiz 2 is 5,000 and a Tech 27 was, I think, 4 or 4,500. Forget which one it was, but the other book that was higher than most that people forget about was the Suspense 3 was higher than this book, the Cap 1.
This could be the only cap of the year that sold for under 100K.
And I know the guy that bought that one.
There had to be more. What's the significance of this detective book?
First Penguin.
Oh, okay.
58, yeah.
Awful cover. Great first page, which should have been the cover. But yeah, it's just.
Yeah, no, that Pep 20, the one at the top of the list. I was surprised. I mean, I'm not like an MLJ connoisseur.
Where are the more funds?
Almost $100,000 for a Pep 20 is higher than I would have expected. Yeah, it's a super cool cover, but $100,000 is, I don't know, man, 90. That seems high to me, but
well, the
I think
6.5 sold for 30.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's
36.
36. I mean, that's crazy. That's a cool cover.
Yeah, that's cool.
The Pep 18's nice. Jesus, it's a 9.6.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I would take the
9.6.
Pep 18's a fun cover.
Yeah, it's a 9.6 Pep.
But the
An
20
MLJ,
is
that's
amazing.
a 9.6.
Yeah, 20 is amazing. I agree.
20
I
is
don't know what I'd take here.
I would probably take the Pep 20, I guess. So that makes sense. If
That
that's
seems a little inflated to me, but
probably take the Pep 22.
All right, here we go. 1941. 40.
Okay, so we're gonna see some good ones.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
Well, no, I want to see some more fun, man.
Oh, you want to see 1942 more fun? You might have
Well,
missed
no,
you.
I want to see the older more fun, but we're not. Yeah. Why are they not up here?
Maybe there's nothing really sold that
They didn't.
this year. There isn't much, right? Except for 73 and 52.
61's good.
Is it that good though? It'd have to be really high grade.
It's Dr. Fate.
First
yeah,
Two-Face
it'd have to
cover.
be really high grade.
First Dr. Fate cover.
What's the deal with this action?
Just high grade. There's
Isn't
high
first
grade.
up?
It's old label. Old label
32K,
9.2.
damn.
Probably.
Isn't first Dr. Fate 54?
No, first cover.
Oh, first cover. Is he on 55 then?
55 is cover. What is the Dr. Fate? 661.
Is that Starman 61?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Starman.
You know, maybe my barometer.
My favorite Dr. Fate cover.
My test is going to be for this upcoming year to either cool if the market's cooling off or gone crazy. If I see a World's Finest book hit this list next year, then I know it's overheated.
I just joked with somebody. They showed me a comic book that they
funny.
picked up, and I'm not knocking him because he watches the show. But if you show me a World Finest and expect me to go, wow, what a great pickup. He goes, what do you think? I got this for whatever he paid. And I said, yeah, nobody likes World Finest, man. It is the worst title of the Golden Age. We understand it's got Superman and Batman, but they're literally playing baseball in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're not even playing baseball. It looks like they're playing softball.
Hey, that's a big difference. Looks like Wonder Woman is surpassing the first appearance. Good.
You mean for apples to apples, 40 to 40?
Yeah. There's a 43K, and then there's a 40 for 57K.
I think when Wonder Woman 1 is a better book than All Star.
About time. There's a 4.5, 43, and then, they're just down there.
Interesting. Well, why did that 40 go for 57, but the 6.5 went for?
Yeah, so is that how
difference?
how-
Wow.
how
Well,
many months
it's
between
the
that?
40 was in 8.
That's a huge jump. You know, in April, September on that value.
Yeah.
Wow.
The colors on the 40 look good. The Christmas again, these are heritage pictures. I'm not saying you embellish the picture. I'm just saying they look It looks really bright.
Is that action just high grade?
It's a mile high pedigree.
That's
Oh,
also
my.
the first appearance of Vigilante.
Mm.
I want to say, is that right? God, I want to say it is.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it, Jeff.
What's the sensation? See, the sensation, that's a respectable price because I love that book. Wonder Woman 1's a better book, I agree. But Sensation's better than All-Star 8, in my opinion.
What's the Donald Duck? What's the deal with that?
I don't know.
Is it First Call Barks work? No.
It's really tough in high grade. There were a couple of those that sold really expensively during that. I think it was during the Promise collection sale. There were like two 4 colors or 3 that sold for crazy numbers. I was having a conversation with Halpern about it because I didn't understand it yet. They fully got it and were aware of those books.
I wonder if Jim spoke to the guy about the artwork from Barks that's available all of a sudden.
What about these detectives?
Well, that one is first Two-Face, the Tower.
Yeah.
First
The Tower is first Two-Face, and the Clock one, Promise collection.
Yeah, it's first Two-Face cover.
Yeah, first Two-Face cover, exactly.
Oh, this is the okay.
One's the cover, one's the first
I
appearance.
see.
They didn't like having first appearances on the covers. Apparently,
Wait, so the 9-0 is the first cover. Okay, I see.
Yes. Yeah, he's up there in that tower.
66 is usually a pretty coveted book.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong with actions or text in high grade, whether it's a key or not, really.
As long as there's those wacky Jerry Seinfelds collecting every Action Comics in like 9.8. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, probably the most collected runs, serious run collectors are probably tech and action in the.
I can't.
And then probably Timely's after that.
Hey,
Oh, we're 42, huh?
Woo! Timely.
42 has some good books.
Yeah.
I can't believe that All Winners 11. I still can't believe it got a 9.8. I can't believe it's graded a 9.8. I'm not going to say any more than that, but that's not a 9.8.
Damn nice.
It's nice.
I like your that's not a 9.8 voice. That's not a 9.8.
Yeah, not a 9.8.
Not a 9.8.
I was
think this also
with that
like
grade.
But also like one, I think, is a very, very reasonable price.
Yeah.
The All Select is the
The
better
cut
one.
is not great on it.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, yeah.
But that 2 is real good.
That's
This
swell.
this was my favorite auction that June for the All Select portion of it.
I don't like this USA. It has printing defects.
Does it?
Okay, I did not
What
know
the
that.
hell is with this action?
That's the first Toyman?
It's also the Mile High pedigree,
Yeah.
which I'm be honest with you, it's
Jerry
it is what
Seinfeld.
it is, yeah.
He
I
was
would
on
like-
the toilet and wanted to
I'm
swim.
actually bidding on a book now that
This one looks good, though, I have to say. This 66. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
the
color.
Action 6 to 66, yeah.
Yeah.
Old label too. I love that.
Promise. Yeah, those are all promises. Wow.
Yeah,
Who
I mean,
else
that's-
is like- if anybody else is like me and looks for old label books, I love that shit. I picked up
All
some.
right, here we go. 1944. Still Timely's ruling this one. 9.8. Oof. 9.2. That's pretty awesome.
That's way high.
You think?
Yeah.
For that cap? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's worth it for if that's a highest grade. That doesn't seem too bad.
It might not be the highest grade.
It's
Yeah,
37. There's a lot of. There's more. There's a lot of them. That's a lot of money.
That's a cool cover.
I'd rather have that than that Batman. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm with you.
The Terrific. All right.
This seemed like a
Some of you guys have owned this book. My
Yeah.
question to you: a 9.0 Terrific, 75K. 5 years ago, would you have paid 50K for that book?
Yeah, I think it's worth 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think 75.
I mean, that's one of
That's
I don't
rare.
know.
It's
That's a
this is
super
unfunny.
iconic Schomburg cover, and it's just so
I-
awesome.
This
the only
book's
reason I'm
got
bringing it up is because I've seen that book in its own right. That 9.0, I thought was going to go. Remember when we did our show? I think I said $100,000 on that one.
yeah. I thought it was gonna go more as I was watching.
I
all
was
these auctions.
shocked how low it went, and I said honestly, I saw people pay $50,000 5 years ago for that book.
Yeah. It's. I think as time goes on, that book's only going to get more
I think that was a good buy.
appeal to it. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's
I
I
think that
agree.
was,
I
that
don't
was the
special book.
steal for
regret
that.
selling mine, but I do want another copy. I'll put it that way.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the steal for that price. I mean, it was a 9.0. Forget the pedigree because I'm going to toss that out the window because of just the fact that I've seen a book. I saw an 8.0 go for $50,000 5 years ago, and I don't expect that to. I said then I'm like that's high, but I understand what your point is. And the guy's a Schomburg nut.
So that it looks like that cap is the highest.
Okay. The 37?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was a 9.2. And then I just see a 9.4.
Wasn't it a 9.4?
That was a
9.2.
9.2.
Oh,
it was a 9.2.
damn.
I just think because how
Yep.
many were graded there?
Yeah, wow.
How many were graded, Mike?
All right, let's take a look.
Listen, if it wasn't a promise
There's
pedigree,
a lot
that
of
book-
I've
that would've
seen
gone
that
for
book a
less.
lot.
9.2, yeah. Oh man, someone's
And I do see them raw.
look, there's
I mean,
a bump
I've
on
seen
all
that
these
book
promise
raw.
books, guys.
Yeah,
37.
Promise Books
Right.
definitely got extra
There's
bump
huge
on them.
bumps on a lot of
Yeah.
these books. I mean, you're seeing people try to get from underneath some of these books like almost instantly.
But I kind of think the Promise didn't help it. I thought because it wasn't a superhero book, it didn't drive the desire, and that's what. That Superman pisses me.
I would love to see that in a 9.8 that all select. It's a tough book. Damn.
It was
I don't know if
beautiful.
that's a real 9.8. Oh, look at that. I love that
That's
sub.
Stubby's good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a guy. I like that one a lot.
Oh. They don't really look like most of the Promise ones that were 9.8. I just felt
We're not going to get.
weren't quite.
I mean, I'll get into it eventually. I want to do a show on that. Are we sure?
I'll
but-
be in on that.
But I want to know if there was a San Francisco book of that, what that would be.
Okay, what's the worst one on here?
What book?
Batman.
No, that's Superman with the Liberty Bell.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that white all select looks crappy to me.
No.
No,
Yeah.
that book is
No.
impossible to find. That book
It's
is
great.
That dress is terrible. I hate that.
go click on the image.
I can't. This is Photoshop.
that they were fighting words.
Yeah, I love that all select. Yeah.
I don't like the white banner up top and like the standard font. It just looks goofy to me.
Yeah, you got to look at it close. You'll
My-
see.
My
There's
least.
a lot of stuff
the
going on.
Superman would be my least. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
the
ahead of the Superman.
Superman doesn't do
obviously.
anything to me.
All
I
right.
don't know. I like the timelies when they're red or yellow. Anything other than that,
Here's a surprise timer.
That's
Here's
my
a
new
surprise
favorite one. I like
timely,
red
yeah.
and yellow timelies.
red and yellow timelies. That's it.
Boom. 60. First
Well,
Mighty
Barry
Mouse.
Tunes?
Mighty Mouse, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you're gonna find a fan.
I think
Again,
that's
we're
the
talking a
census tool,
9.6. I don't know anything about the Terry Tunes other than I know it's first Mighty Mouse,
I-
and it's a 9.6.
I thought this suspense would be more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because 90. Well, how many? There's so many restored. And let's be honest, we're talking about a Continental, which is usually shit. They don't stay on the staple. I mean, that's a common problem you have with that book is bottom staple, top staple moves out. I mean, when we discussed Continental one time, and we said it is one of those books that it's just shit, and that's a beautiful copy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the highest graded copy by a mile too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the next highest is like a 7.5 or something. So
Mhm.
I feel like that's cheap for that book.
Yep, that was a good.
I mean, there's nothing else even in the 8s or 9s for that suspense 8.
I
Yep.
love this Marvel Mystery 66.
666 is a good book.
Damn, that was
Yeah.
good. Did you see that one, Jeff?
Yes, I love that book.
Did you
Sorry.
see it in person? Did
Yeah, it was there.
that must have been? I mean, there's a few. Like, the Catman kind of surprised me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that.
some of these Batmans are surprising. I think this
Yeah.
action. I think that's the first Mixoplick.
Yeah. What's
No,
this more
I don't
fun?
think it is.
It's
think
maybe.
It's second.
30. I think number 30 is the first Mixoplick.
Yeah, he was around before that. He's around
Yeah.
before 45.
It's something
yeah.
about Mixoplick. I thought I've had this book a couple times.
Is it
What's this more fun about?
I thought it was.
Anything?
First Superboy.
Yeah, first Superboy.
Oh,
I gotta look it up. Action Comics 180. I'm gonna look this one up.
Yeah, I think Superman 30 is the first Mixoplick because that was actually a book I wanted at one point.
Okay.
I would take that suspense.
That one's got to be something. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be
I'd
something.
take the suspense here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
all those books, the 66 is
Ooh,
bad, but
yeah,
go
that'd
back
be
up.
tempting.
That's so
Go back
cool.
up,
That Death
Go back
Ray.
up. Go back up. It was something at the top. No, the suspense. That's the one I thought. Just because you don't, that it's so ridiculously far and away the best copy of that book. I'm not knocking the Promise collection all the time. There are some books in the Promise collection that are so far and away better than anything we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So it deserves its position in
Yep.
the ranking of the pedigree because of that. I just don't think every book in it is
Yeah,
of that
absolutely
category.
not.
It's not the Mile High or San Francisco.
And they took
It's the
there. A
Promise.
lot of them had printing defects.
Right. But I think because of when I saw the suspense and I saw like there was like 4 or 5 other books in the Promise collection, I said, I've never seen an 8 and you're showing me a 9.6. And I looked at it and I said, that's a legitimate, 9.2, 9.4 or above. I'm not, it's hard to tell from the picture.
More Jokers.
That action really quick, guys, was the first Mixoplick cover and second appearance of Mixoplick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My bad.
No
My bad.
worries. That's what we do.
Okay,
Jokers.
Now I'm out. Later.
Thank you, Jeff, for joining us. I really
No worries,
appreciate
man.
it.
Happy New Year's, guys. Take care.
Take care, man.
Take care.
Best to you.
I would rather have that Cap Arrow over that Contact 12.
Me too.
Wow, blasphemer in front of us.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
blasphemous.
look, when it comes to timelies, I say a bunch of stupid shit, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I talk out my ass. But when it comes to LB Cole sci-fi,
Nope, I only
feel-
go to you. I only go to
I
you.
feel like my opinion is valid. I know it's a minority opinion, but I like Cap Arrow better than Contact 12 by a wide margin.
That Contact one is not good.
It's
12?
good.
12?
It's definitely good, but it's just not.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's several better than that to me.
It's
But
just so rudimentary.
yeah, but I mean, it's sort of got that modern art style to it. It's 2-dimensional. It's just not my thing. I like the Cap Arrow. It's got more depth and
Yeah.
better color.
But I like both of those more.
I'm
than the
actually going to
Jokers.
say that I think the Arrow is harder to find, right?
I think they're probably about equivalent on the census.
Oh,
I've had 2 copies of that Captain Arrow.
okay. The All Select 11 though, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I might take that over
I
all
would
these
say I'm
books.
going to take that over all of them so far.
Yeah.
I like that Torch 23.
I'd rather have the Blonde Phantom.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good deal on that, 40 grand.
You get a 9.8 blind.
I think that's a good deal.
Because we know a 4.0 in that book. It wasn't that long ago. A 4.0 sold for almost 20.
Yeah.
So imagine not 20. About was it 16 he paid for it? Check the boards
They were cheap.
for a while. Not anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not.
I think they'll cool down once they realize no one's doing anything with Blonde Phantom.
But she's one of the original all winners.
Yeah. What about this one?
Who did that cover?
Blonde Phantom?
All select. Yeah, number 11.
Shores
Is
maybe, or
it
Aegis.
Shores? Is it Sid Shores?
I don't know.
Which one? The Super Mystery?
No,
No, the
just-
Blonde Phantom.
Oh, I don't know.
All select 11. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
I know the Super Mystery, I think, is like the Warren Kramer, I think it is, or something like that.
Oh, here we go. Something you guys would like. Bam.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice book. I'm kind of surprised at that price because that's sort of a niche book.
Yeah, I was.
And I'll tell you, I've asked a lot of people, and I'm in PCH, was heavily. There's a lot of people who don't think this cover's that good, honestly. I think it's awesome. But there's a lot of people that think the
Wally
cover
Wood did the better covers in that series.
Anyone we know get this?
I don't know, but I love that.
I know who got the number 3, the Wally Wood cover. I know who bought that.
Oh, there's one of the 4 colors Jeff was talking about.
That's pricey, jeez. Cool Flash.
Yeah, Flash is cool.
Penguin.
High grade Superman books sell.
Oh, I love this one. This Timely's great.
Who do we trust on who did the cover the most?
Yeah, I don't know. I was, and see, when I don't know if it happened yet, but I started to get sick of these high grade actions. And
Well, yeah, I mean the Action 13 didn't sell for what it should because it was a 9.2, but a 9.4 of a way lesser book. You know,
Blue Beetle. There we go. That's a lot for insignificant Flash. Flash 100, jeez. Although, you know, hey, that's
honest to God,
that could be someone's first comic.
I would have saved my money on on every one of these books.
Yeah.
The Brenda Starr.
Yeah, Brett, that one. Would be
that probably for that price, considering it's a low end, and if I gave somebody 50 grand on this panel, I wouldn't. If I had 50 grand, I probably would have got the Superman, but it went for 775.
What about that Blue Beetle?
No, I think the Brenda. Look, that Blue Beetle is not one of my favorite books.
I like the Brenda Starr more.
Brenda Starr is a better book.
Yes.
I like my women looking whorish.
The Brenda Starr. I think
is it the whorish moment? I like them looking whorish.
I like the Brenda Starr better, but they're both pretty close in quality. I think.
Yes.
I take the Revenge of the Nerds one. That one. So.
But we have a better chance. I don't know.
Okay.
One brings more to mind than the other.
Oh, I know
we're in 49.
Yeah.
All right. Weird Tales should dominate, but there might be a few other ones.
That seems like a good price for that book.
I'm surprised about this Saint.
Time out. That Marvel Tales 93 is a good book.
Pretty good.
Is there anything particular of note on that Saints? I don't know that I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Will Eisner? No.
I'm not sure, but there's some people that get caught up in the hype and have bought some Promise books and now are relisting them. And I think that might be one of them. I don't know.
I like that Amazing Mysteries cover. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
By the way, for the price of that Saint, you could have got an original artwork by Will Eisner from that book for cheaper. I'm not kidding you. You could have gotten almost many pages from that book for that price. It's bizarre to me. I'll take if I had 50 grand to spend this year so far, it's the Weird Tales, but
yeah, I'd go for a cap.
Well, the Marvel Tales intrigue me, but I go with the
I'd go
at 9.6 true. I'm not a romance collector, but I could see that being
It's not even the first
Grade
romance book. I don't even know why
But
it's
it's
so
a,
big.
Fuck
a
that Katie
Baker,
Queen. Get it off my screen.
a Baker romance in 9.4 is going to always be popular.
Yeah,
I'd rather have the
a
first
good point,
romance,
which
the
is what I was
Kirby one.
thinking. I would resell 50.
Yeah.
Uh,
Another dumb joke.
nothing. Pedigree.
Weird
Oh,
fantasy
Blue
games.
Belt 105.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Blue Belt 105.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, 15. I didn't.
Yeah.
remember.
I would. If I had 50 grand, I probably would have competed for that up to 20.
Yeah. I wish I could have got
That's a $20,000 book easily.
that's a nice looking copy too.
7.5 low label. More spirit. I'll take 105 over 106. How about that?
What's the deal with this Vault of Horror?
It's
The rack.
yeah,
I
it's
mean-
it's just I'm trying to remember if it's
But
the
14
first.
grand for an 8.0 for an EC.
It's got to be something special because the usually the high ones are Gaines file copies. That's just the 8.0.
There's three Gaines file copies. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Honestly, I'm taking that 105.
It's the first EC horror comic
Oh,
released simultaneously with
Is it?
Terror 17.
and this one's isn't this the Crypt Keeper?
Yeah,
Crime Patrol 15 is
4 or 5. Wow.
yeah. That book is a
It's
couple of years ago.
possible
4 or 5 would have been like 2,000.
but it's still tough to find. It's not as.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not impossible.
It's a nice spirit.
I'm going for that Blue Bolt. The not
Yeah.
the 8.0. That one 105.
Yeah, me too.
I'm taking that.
Yeah, that's I have a 4 or 5 of that, which I paid only a fraction of that price, obviously. But
You got a great.
for-
you got-
compared to the number that are on the census, the book does not show up that often, and that is the best Cole sci-fi cover by
Yeah.
far, in my opinion.
Yep. Here we go.
No
51.
disagreement from me.
Tales of Terror.
As an annual, though, that's tough.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, it's an annual. Yeah, I was going to say at first, and then I remember it's an annual. Yeah.
Then it's Jerry Seinfeld. Bought those.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one's expensive always.
Mystery in Space 1, harder to find than you'd think.
Yeah, what is this?
Harder to find than you'd think, because later on ones when Gil Kane took over, it was much more produced or much.
I'll
more
tell you though, here's an interesting fact about that Mystery in Space 1. I think on the Overstreet top 10 sci-fi comics, that's number 1.
Oh, really?
It's cool as shit, but when that came out, it wasn't like it was an idea by DC to get into the, I don't want to say dark sci-fi world, if that makes sense, but
I don't know.
Weird-
That Blue Bolt should
weird
pass
fantasy
that.
already. But weird
Well,
fantasy.
yeah, Overstreet Guide is from long ago. They haven't updated it. But if you were to do that list now, that wouldn't even make the top 15 or 20 probably.
No.
Yeah, because the Frazettas should be.
Well, I mean, there's 3 Frazettas in the Famous Funny Run. You have those L.D. Cole sci-fis. Then you have the Fox books, the Science 1 and 2.
Yep.
You've got some other Planet Comics books are going to be ahead of it. There's a lot of sci-fi books that are going to be way ahead of Mystery in Space 1.
It's a good book, though. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I mean,
Yeah, it's a good book. It's just not. It's not number
I
1.
like Neil Kane, but that's a bit much. But
Man, this
Mystery in Space probably wouldn't even be in my top 20,
that
honestly.
annual's pretty pricey. Jesus.
Yeah, annuals are tough, man.
there's the first guy who paid more for that Chamber Chills than he should have.
Yeah, but the thing
There's
I
a
like
lot of
about that is off-white to white pages and a nice grade. All of those are cream to off-white. All of them. Every single freaking copy I ever see is cream to off-white. I had a copy that's cream to off-white.
I did not look at page quality, but
What is
Yeah,
with
I think
this
it's a
Wiz
a lot of money.
here?
700-800 for that book is a lot.
What's the deal with this weird thing?
Canadian edition. It's probably pretty tough
'Cause
to
it's
find.
not even graded.
No, it's probably really tough to find though. I'll bet. I've never
And
seen.
is the
There
cover
are some
supposed to
people
look
who
like
look
that?
for Canadian issues, especially Canadian pulps.
Is the cover supposed to look like this, kind of faded?
I'd say
No.
there's a good chance it is because those Canadian books have weird colorations sometimes. So I don't know. It might be a little faded. Who knows? I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, it's one of the only raw books in this whole list.
What did that Harvey file copy get for the 21?
5,700. Black
That's
hat.
not even a bargain, to be honest with you.
Marvel Boy. I don't know.
I would expect that book to go for more. Of all those, DS knock me. I'm going to take that Mystery in Space.
You can have it. You won't get any competition from me. I'm not.
Right. No worries.
Here we go.
Oh, we're in. See that shock suspense. The first one.
Yeah, the problem with this one at 9.8 is it is tied with two other ones at 9.8, and there's two higher graded.
Right.
It's
But-
there's two 9.9s.
Right.
Whoa, really?
Yeah,
This is an older label.
And none of these are okay. That is the games.
There's an older label, and I kind of think that the older label one warrants a little more credo to me. It was a tougher grade back then.
yeah. I don't know. It's just,
That's
what's this-
generation one. That's generation one. So
Yeah, and look at the
These-
color difference on these Startling Terror Tales.
Yeah.
I would take that 7.
Although you
Yeah,
can
it
tell
looks-
by the label, the blue in the label, that there's some. It's not the exact same.
I'm taking that 7-0.
That's
Didn't
another
this-
book with a
didn't
color
this book-
variant.
20
There's a
grand. Which
black
one are you
one.
buying? 20 grand. Forget the.
Shock suspense.
No,
I
well,
take the
those-
Startling Terror Tales, the 7.0.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, as far as Knights goes, yeah, I'm taking that. What the? Forget the ACG. I don't need a Ken Balls.
Out of Night.
Well, it's
Yeah.
because it's an early issue, which are tougher, and it's super high grade. That's why.
Mhm.
It's just one of those completionists out there that's buying high grades. Of
That
ACG.
ghost is pretty sweet. You don't see that often.
Is this Crime Mysteries?
It's a Crippen copy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good book though. That title, that's one of the best
Yeah.
covers in the run. And that whole title's tough to find.
We're doing Black Cats now.
Teenage Dope Slaves. Oh, I love this one, Strange Fairs.
Tough book.
That always creeps me out.
Yep. And the River
Yeah,
City too.
There's three different covers by that guy, William Ekren,
Yep.
and 3 different titles, but they all have a similar style because that's just how he drew. And I'll tell you, I don't see any of the 3 very often. And when I do, they're always beat.
Great
Lance has seen
point.
it in my
St. John's was shit paper. A 9.4 is ridiculous in that. And the other thing about that book is forget the pedigree, which is great. The off-white to white pages aspect comes into play. I mean, that might be the book I buy
Yeah.
of this bunch. I'm not touching. The Out of Night's tough but it's 20 grand more. I mean, not the Out of Night, the Suspense Stories. Yeah, Out of Night's a pretty good book though.
I like the crime mysteries myself.
Nice. The Uncle Scrooge is pretty cool. Well, we'll get him some. Now, DS, you want to take over?
Oh, I like that 9.4.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think I should have went for more, honestly. Just a really, really good cover. And then the Mr. Mystery 12, I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not a fan of that one, but I know it's very popular. And then my favorite of those so far is the Weird Mysteries 4. That one's awesome.
That's a Bethlehem pedigree, which is one of those I really like.
Really, you like that one more than
I like Bethlehem Pedigree more.
Yeah, that Weird Mysteries 4 blows these other two out of the
I
water.
like it better than
It's not
Wow,
even-
really?
Yeah, dude, it's a skull with a knife through it and an ant with a human head on it walking
I don't
away.
know. It looks silly.
I don't think it looks silly. It's just.
We're talking to a timely collector who says it looks silly, Mike.
I'm just saying, it's a guy with an ant's head on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
bizarre and awesome. And it's just
reverse.
a cool skull. with a
I'd-
knife through it.
I'd rather have the Chamber of Chills.
An underrated, the underrated Mr. Mystery 11, the most
Yeah, so
underrated,
that Mr. Mystery 11 is
underrated book.
but it's the same artist, Bernard Bailey, who did Weird Mysteries 4, and I feel like the Weird Mysteries 4 is the sequel to that cover.
Yeah.
That's before
That's
his
a
head
good
got eaten by
point.
the ants.
That's a good point.
Maybe
Or
I'm not
after,
afraid of ants.
or
I
after.
don't know.
Could be before or after books.
Yeah, he did that with another one too. Another Weird Mysteries 5 is like the sequel to another Mr. Mystery, where the guy's head is being pushed down into the vat of acid, and then Weird Mysteries 5 is where the head is out of the acid and then they're removing the brain.
Is
Sean
this
says
Chamber of
Mr.
Chills
Mystery 11
cheap?
is a dumb cover. Come on, buddy.
It's not cheap. The thing about it is there's just so many copies, and that's not even close to being with a high. I mean, there's so many copies even above an 8.0. But that's a strong price for a common book. I mean, 24 grand.
It's a great underworld crime.
Poker, the hot shocker.
Yeah, I like that Underworld Crime a lot. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite crime covers.
It's really a great piece of artwork.
Yeah. That
Real
Dark
fun.
Mysteries 10, I freaking love that book, and I cannot
Yeah.
find. I want that book so
Oh,
bad.
Menace 5. Good book.
First appearance of the Marvel Zombie.
Yep.
I like this weird tales. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Weird Tales of the Future.
Yeah, so Basil Wolverton. It's a short
Yeah.
title. I think there's only 7 issues, and they're not real easy to locate, and they're all sort of got a nice quirky style. Wolverton's got a really cool style.
What's the deal with this Menace zombie?
It's the first Marvel
It's the
Zombie. and
first
it's
time
just
it
a
says
killer cover.
zombie.
Oh, Marvel zombies.
Yeah.
It's just a killer cover too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just-
I mean, I understand there's a bunch of shit. It's a crowded cover, but it's a badass book.
Is that the first time it's called Zombie?
No, there's another book that does
Okay.
that first.
It's not the first time zombie was used in a comic, but it's the first appearance of the Marvel Zombie, who's an actual
Gotcha.
character.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but I mean, he's an actual character that occurs later in comics. That's his first appearance. But zombie was used earlier.
Lewis, what book was Zombie used first? You used to always tell me that when we were in the office before we started working from home.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to recall. Don't necessarily, give you.
I had a book that I emailed CGC about and told them that this was the first use of zombie in a comic. And they just told me that they couldn't prove that I was right and that zombie was a term that was around before that comic, so they wouldn't give me
In
the notation.
Haiti.
But it was
Well, doesn't Erie 1? I mean, maybe I'm crazy. Like the Erie 1, the Avon version,
Yeah.
doesn't it have it? I have to look it up. I think there's actually zombies in that book.
well, there might be, but when I did my research, I had a book called Thing Number 4 by Charlton, which was a PCH book that had a cover story about a zombie. And in my research, that was the first time the word zombie was ever used on a comic book cover. And CGC would not change the notation, wouldn't add that, because they said it may or may not be, but zombies, the term zombie is from voodoo and it's been around longer than that, and it's probably been used in other stuff, so we can't give you the notation. Which they couldn't prove I was wrong, and I researched it, and the first cover I could ever find with the word zombie on it was Thing Number 4.
I've been fighting with CGC about John Buscema books for a good 10 years now, and if they put Strange Tales 150 as the first John Buscema work in Marvel, when they recognize that John Buscema did the cover in 1959 of a Marvel book, I tell them, I said, do you know how stupid you look with this? And they're like, it's first time post superhero. I'm like, you didn't put that on there. People
Yeah,
are
and here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying about the Harvey books. They're all creamed off white. It's so hard to find a good page color. Look at these creamed off white, creamed off white.
it's a good point.
Off
I
white
actually
is tough.
it's funny because my Harvey file copies of what I have, 2 out of the 3 are creamed off white.
Yeah, there's another Chamber 23, the 9.0 creamed off white.
I thought
There's
that
another
this,
one.
didn't we see this book already? This Chamber Chills?
We saw it in
Oh, 7.0. There's 2 9.0s, both creamed off white.
Yeah.
Thought we had it in this.
But we saw it as an off white to white.
Thought we had it in another one.
Yeah, we had a
right here.
Right here.
You know?
But that was an off white to white, which is
Yeah,
why
this is in my filtered 1951 7.0, and then this is 54. Huh. I guess they did a typo.
yeah, I was gonna say it was a little early.
Because is it a 54 or is it a 51?
54.
Okay. So that's just a typo. What was that? 7.8? Okay. Yeah. That looks pretty nice in the high grade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really underappreciated cover. You really have to hold that one in hand to appreciate it. It's like an impressionist painting. And
Yeah.
you're
see
swimming with
that.
different colors and hues that you can't appreciate in photos. Like Tumatera 15, I feel like the photos do it justice. You can get it, and then when you get it in hand, you're like, oh yeah, this is what I bought. When you have a Chamber 23 and you get it in hand, it's a totally different experience than from photos because
I like this Tumatera.
there's so much nuanced hues on that cover. You really don't get an appreciation for it unless you have one in your hands.
It's a cool Tumatera.
Yeah, that's real cool.
The water is great.
I love that Tumatera.
Finally, a Frazetta.
Yeah. Famous Funnies.
Wow, 19 for an 8.
Yeah, those books are hot.
I'm not gonna knock it. Yeah.
Hey, don't you have that, DS? Beware.
I had one. I had a 4.0, I think, but I sold it. I did a little trade deal to get something else.
Baker.
Yeah, that's like
Rich's
yeah.
Tale, 25.
Aside from the Phantom Ladies, I feel like that Cinderella Love is like the hottest book.
Yeah. I like that Mystery Tales. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Harry
Yeah,
Anderson.
that's a good one.
I never owned one of those.
Very
The
classic.
Witch's Tales 25. What annoys me about that book, it's super gruesome, and it's a cool book. The colors on that are so drab. Not that copy, all of them. It's just I wish they used brighter colors on the Witch's Tales 25. It's just all like browns, and it just I don't know, man. I wish there was some brighter colors on it.
I think
Which
I'm
is
thinking
unusual
of
for
that
Harvey.
as- that
Because
is
Harvey always have such good, bright, vibrant colors, and then that one doesn't.
And here we go. The last one.
Where was I 2 years ago? I would have paid $2,000 for that copy.
Yeah, right.
Where are we in 55 right now?
Yeah, this is it.
There's nothing good.
Yeah, there's not much. Black Knight.
Not interested.
I think it's
Oh,
funny.
that's Frazetta. That was a good.
215.
I don't know what this My Greatest Adventure. I like that crypt.
Number 1. It's just an early issue.
Yeah, number 1. It's a cool crypt cover.
Yeah, it's real cool.
Yeah.
The prices on EC books have gone nuts. Like I don't think $4,000 seems high to me for that, but I feel like that should be like a $1,500 book. But that's an entry level title. Like the Harveys and the ECs is the first place people go when you get into PCH. So if enough people come into the hobby and get into PCH, ECs and Harveys go up. I think that's what's happening.
Wow.
That Famous Funnies. What is that? 7.5. Yeah.
I think 54 and 55, I'm going with the Frazettas.
And then I'm not really a fan of 216.
Yeah.
And nobody else is either. 2100 for a 6.0.
I mean, both of those are kind of weak.
They're like 4 times as much.
Even 215s.
Yeah, the Famous Funnies 212, 213, and 214 is where it's at, and then 215 is a close fourth.
And this is what for your Martian Manhunter fans, right?
Well, yeah, and that's arguably
First Silver Age.
that and Showcase 4
Yeah.
are like the first Silver Age books, because I think that's the first Silver Age tech. And the
But
first
if you
Silver Age
find it,
DC books.
this is my opinion between the Martian Manhunter and first Barry Allen Flash. I'm going to say this now. If you find a Barry Allen Flash in a good red, solid blood red colors, good red colors in there, buy it. Buy it more than that Martian Manhunter any day.
Yeah, the Martian Manhunter is a cool book, but it doesn't. I've been watching the price on that for years, and it does not move.
Yeah, I mean the Barry Allen first appearance, the Showcase 4 is just one of those. To me, it's the Silver Age book, and I'm not the biggest Flash fan by any means, but it's just I'm not going to compare it to any Marvel book. So don't say, oh, you'd rather have an AF-15 or that. I'm saying as far as iconic book that transcends a generation. The true first Silver Age book being the first Barry Allen, then go find one. Next stop, go find one that's really red, and then tell me how hard it is.
I think DC was clearly the winner of Golden Age, and Marvel still silver.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not because of it's not the MCU per se that has made Marvel so much better. I mean, the superheroes in the Silver Age are clearly Marvel dominated, but for casual fans or new fans that come into the hobby, they already have a huge head start on Marvel because of the MCU over the last, I guess we're going on almost 20 years now. They already know about Iron Man and the Avengers and Ant-Man and all this stuff. So when they get into the hobby, they go for what they recognize, which is Marvel right off the bat. If you are new to the hobby, you have to sort of research Silver Age DC stuff because it's not like you would already know it. So I think the MCU has given new collectors a head start to gravitate towards that stuff anyway, which was accelerated the disparity between Marvel and DC in the Silver Age. And I don't see that correcting anytime soon.
If someone's just going on pure literature, Silver Age, if you're buying reprints or something like that, Silver Age DC sucks. Flat out terrible books. Not the bad Barry Allen, is certainly not when a Bronze Age DC wins.
I do like the Showcase 4. I thought was pretty good.
I'm not, again, we're talking that one, but if you want to compare,
what about the Adam, the sci-fi guy?
Adam's.
Weren't those good? Adam Strange.
Adam Strange. Yeah.
But Mystery in Space was where, but.
And Green Lantern, wasn't that decent?
Yeah, Green Lantern's all right.
Most Green Lantern fans prefer the modern shit more.
Oh, really?
They love the Jeff Johns more than.
I like that Gil Kane.
I love the Gil Kane. Gil Kane's artwork. I'm not saying the artwork. If I'm going to buy original artwork, I'm going to take Kirby, Silver Age, Thor.
Yeah.
But if somebody offers me a Gil Kane DC 1959 work, I'm not going to at all blink an eye. You know what I mean? Because that's what all the Bronze Age, Silver Age guys later on love. They always quote Gil Kane's work, And Jim Aparo, let's be honest. I mean, he's one of those that I love. So, but thank you guys for running the show for me. You guys are great.
Well, we do our best. We were like a C.
Oh yeah,
C
without a ship or a C there. You guys were fine. You guys were great.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'm glad we were able to do a show, and now I have to go to sleep and get up in like 8 hours.
Yep. Yeah. We're gonna think we went long, and like I tell somebody asked me, I watch your show, but sometimes it's like 3 hours long. I'm like, well, if the whiskey's flowing and we're talking,
Good.
It's always a good time.
If anything, I thought I was gonna thank everybody for watching for this year. And have a safe New Year's, and let's all enjoy the hobby and the community going into 2022.
And let's hope everything keeps going strong, and we can have a robust hobby going forward.
And even though I didn't buy money Golden Age, my love for it is just as high as ever.
Yeah, same here. I will say this: 2022. I want to know everybody has to have a golden age. I want you, if you're a fan of the show, reach out to me or one of the other guys on Instagram or whatever like that. Reach out to us or comment on one of the shows and tell us when and if you pick up a book and you want to show it your golden age book. I don't care what it is. It could be a 0.5, whatever. I don't care what it is. I really don't care if it's graded or not. Tell us the book, why you bought it, why you got it, and we'll do that all year long. We'll do that once a month. We'll have us and our fans talk about the books that we picked up. I think that's a good idea because a lot of people have been asking me, hey, I picked up this book. What do you think? I'm like, honestly, you got to talk to DS. Well, I don't know him. I said, well, go reach out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know, you
We
reach
could
out
show
to
it
him.
on the
said,
show and talk about it.
I've met you. I've never met him. I'm like, look, I think you got a book that's pretty good. I mean, he knows more about the Dark GA than I do.
I do. JD, I forgot. I wanted to show one, probably my favorite pickup of the Golden Age era, but I wanted to wait till you were back.
Oh, your War of the Worlds?
I'll show it to you.
We can thank a few people for this.
Drum roll.
Make me large.
Oh, here we go. There it is.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
One of the greatest ever pulps.
By the way, that's featured in every episode of Big Bang Theory that they show the apartment.
Thank you very much for working with me on this one.
Yeah, I had
I'm very proud.
I had a
proud owner.
I had to ask him if he's still. Yep.
And I see yours up there, DS.
Oh yeah, it's my
that was one that I was lucky enough that he was willing to accept everything for it. So
yeah, I think we made a good trade. I was
he was that. Yeah.
But yeah, super cool robot cover from 1916. Just happy to get this one. Yeah, I forgot to show it. I got it as my new background up here though for now, so everybody can see it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, thanks again. 2021 was good.
Not my favorite year, I have to say.
We're here. Hopefully, things get better. Now, I want to say one highlight that we're going to do in 2022 is the channel itself is rebranding. Be on the lookout for a new promo video that we're getting done and a new partnership with a group that's very interested in the Golden Age. Something I've never even thought about, but has come up recently. And people have called us and want to be part of us and part of the show and part of the group. And these are it's a little different, but it's there'll be some speculation people out there, but not on your ASM. They're kind of like business oriented. It's a long story that hopefully we'll get done, but look for a few collaborations coming up in the future with the channel and us as well. Hopefully we can do that. And if there's any shows you guys want to hear do, we have a list of things we want to do. It's been great. We didn't do our what do we want from Santa list that Lewis brought up. But what do we want from 2022? You'll find out. Thank everybody. Stay golden. That's what I'm supposed to say. Because somebody said, how come I never say stay golden, Funny Boy? And I'm like, I always close it with thank you for being a friend. So now it's going to be stay golden, everybody. And thank you all for being a friend. Thanks, everybody.
Nice hanging out.
Thank you for being